Big ups. Welcome in. Good morning if you are in America, Mountain Time like I am. Good afternoon. Good evening if you are in the UK, like my good friends Ellie and Ashmatic. I am joined, as you can tell, by Colin from Talking Ball, Ashmatic from Southview, Coys, and Queen Ellie with the Spurs Ladies Channel and THFC Till I Die. I am Jacob, one half United Spurs of America. Thank you so much for being here on the Tuesday evening. Been fluctuating what this show's going to be. I just know that at this time on a Tuesday, I'm available for a show. Don't really know what the show's going to be, but I got a few things to talk about in relation to the relegation teams and teams that players from those clubs that we might want to cherry pick from. But obviously there's other news atop the list. If you're on Twitter, you know, Kulusevski, there's a lot of he said, she said, did she sign, did she not, the release clause, etc., etc. We'll talk about it. But before I do all that, let me go around the panel. Ellie, it has been so long since I've seen you.
I know.
You're a royalty, so I'm going to start with you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. I'm looking forward to the show because your shows are always fantastic. I love Ash. I love Colin. I love Jacob. So it's all set for a brilliant show.
There we go. There we go, Ellie. I always love your energy here, Ellie. You are immaculate vibes. You are everything that this club is missing. Ash, let me ask you, you've been a busy man. I'm catching you in between recordings and live streams and soccer matches and bodybuilding competitions. How are you doing?
Yo. in the room, zoom. Yeah, I'm good, man. Can't complain. Yeah, you know, we flex on them. You know how we do.
Hey.
Yeah, it's all good, man. I'm just trying to stay busy. Obviously, the passion's there. And once the passion's still burning, so ever so slightly, we're going to keep it moving. We're going to talk about things. Again, I'm just a fan, you know, and I just want to have my voice. And I want to encourage others to just have their voice heard as well. So, power to the people. Amen.
Power to the people. I agree with that.
Amen.
Speaking of people with power, or maybe not enough power, Colin from Talking Ball. Happy Tuesday. Good morning, my friend from the States. How are you doing?
Doing well. It's my day off work, man. And then you stream on this day. It's perfect.
It's almost serendipitous, Colin, right? That we've formed this alliance together. Real quick, I do want to say, if you are, here, let me fix this so that way I don't cover y'all's beautiful faces down there. Shift videos up when I pull the comments up. There we go. Wow. United Spurs of America says to be a channel member. There is the link. It is pinned to the top. You don't have to. You can just hit a like and subscribe on the channel. It is absolutely free to do that. But to become a channel member, if you do want to go the extra mile, you can click that link and do so. Big up Eugene from Spurs Suasion says, hi, everyone. Big up. Purple and gold. Hashtag Levy out. Mark Swift in the house. What's up, Swifty? Ho, 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 and a bottle of rum. Big up the Perchy TV says, big up, guys. Ashmatic is on the stream grind today. Yes, he is. Big up the Perchy TV. Make sure you go sub to the Perchy if you haven't already. He's on the road to 1,000. Great guy, great channel over there, so go check him out. Mark Cousins, big up, Jacob. No shit shows for 2 months. That's right. Well, technically, I'm gonna say 2 days, because we still don't have a director of football. We still don't have a manager. We're talking about signing players, release clauses, etc., and we don't even have the man in charge to make those calls, in my opinion. But we move. Big up Mark Cousins. Hopefully no shit shows for 2 months, but I doubt it. Stuart, big up Jacob, Call, Ash, Ellie, and everyone in the chat. Big up Stuart. Big up Stu. Big up Bobby K from Three Spurs Boys says, big up Jacob, Colin, Ash, Queen Ellie, and everyone in the chat. Big up yourself, Bobby K and Three Spurs Boys. Also go subscribe to Three Spurs Boys, Kuv and the Kang. They got a great thing going on over there, so go check them out. They're on the road to 1K also, so definitely go check them out if you got the time. I'm sure at some point I'll work on putting links in the bio, or in the chat for the rest of everyone's channels. But before we do all that, we got all the political stuff out of the way, all the what is it, like the bureaucratic bullshit we got to go through. So we got that out of the way. So now it's time to talk about what I saw the first thing when I woke up, which was the fact of Kulusevski, the release clause. I think it's around 35 mil, Ash? Is it around 35 mil?
Yeah,
I mean, 22 years old, 22 years old, winger that scored some goals for you. There's an argument there to be made that he's worth extending the contract at least, but you know, myself and my pessimistic, I've been calling him Kulusevski all season because I don't know who the hell that is wearing number 21. It doesn't look like the ginger from Sweden we fell in love with. Ash, let me ask you, are you activating this release clause and coming to terms with Kulusevski ASAP, or how do you feel about this?
I think regardless, look at the age range. He's like 22. Do you know what I mean? Guy's got a left foot. Some people are saying he's been found out. I'm not too sure. Obviously, it was only 3 months we saw perfect form. So I do understand where the debate sits in terms of, is he really that good? Because if you only seen a small portion of him and then we've seen the whole season of him and this whole season he hasn't been that good, then some would argue that maybe this is the real him. My opinion, personally, I know he's had a few injuries, so it's been up and down. But as a whole, Spurs haven't really been good. So you can't just look at one player if the whole squad has been underperforming other than KANE. So for me, I think at worst, he could be a squad player. But on his best day, he starts every day. He starts every game. We've seen what he can do, seen his ability. A lot of the fans have been talking quite negatively of him. I think some of the games I've seen have been a bit harsh. I remember against Liverpool, he got criticised for not playing too well. And I thought he was pressing well from the front. I thought he did a ball.
You're talking about this most recent Liverpool match?
Yeah, the recent one when we were at Anfield and we lost
4-3. Yeah.
Yeah, I think loads of fans were coming down on him. Oh, he's not good enough, this and that.
Big up OG.
I thought he played really well. Not really well. I thought he had a decent performance. But obviously he just didn't get the goals, didn't get the score sheet. And a lot of the time, when you're not scoring, then, you know, fans don't really rate you. That's my opinion.
To me, it's not necessarily the fact that he was not scoring, not assisting. He just seemed not himself. If the sample size from last season is to be deemed himself, or it's a fluke. Ellie, how are you feeling about Kulusevski? Do you think that we should sign him? And then do you think that is it a fluke that he fell off this season? Maybe it's not. Am I ringing the alarm bells too soon by saying he might be cooked?
I'm going to come at it from a different angle, because when you think about it, he hit the ground running last season. He was assisting, he was scoring. Now he's a marked man. The other teams know that he can hurt you. If you let him play, they're putting 3 players on him at times, and he beats the first man, he beats the second man, and the third one, and then they regroup against him. So it's like a collective. They know he's a dangerous player. But also, you know what? I'm going to put a little bit of a funny spin on it as well. I think somebody's been going and putting grease on his boots, man, because he's been missing the target. And then he's got a 3 left foot, man. He curls them in.
He might have a future in American football as a kicker, because the way he puts it up over the post every time, I mean, he's clinical with that, in my opinion. But Ellie, do you think he's worth? Is it worth enough of the? I mean, is it low enough price tag on Kulusevski that it's worth exercising that option?
Definitely, he's got a talent, that boy. I watch him closely, right, and it's a shame that they've marked him out the game sometimes, because, and also, like what Ash said, he's playing in a team that's got very low morale, and it's a collective. You've got to rely on your teammates to feed you the right ball at the right time, and sometimes we haven't been doing that for too long. So he hasn't been able to do everything that he can do on the ball. But I just feel like this season coming, right, is going to be the proof of the pudding. Right, if he can keep himself fit, he's got all the tools, the boy, to make a success of his career at Spurs.
I agree with you, Ellie. Colin, let me ask you, Kulusevski, price tag, worth the amount of money for the upside, or is it he's done, he's dusted, he's cooked, he ain't gonna be the same person again? Kulusevski will be forever his name. What do you think?
Nah, Ellie hit it on the head, man. When you have a good season, when you come into a league, you're an unknown. You know, teams don't know how to defend against you. Teams don't know how much of a threat you are. But then they figure you out. They stick 2 or 3 people on you. But what that does then, in a good team, in a team with more attacking talent than I think we've had, it opens up other players. That should theoretically leave other players open. I think he can still contribute a lot, even if he is marked out of games himself. I think that in alone will open up other players and free up other players. Sonny, KANE, to do the business. I don't know. I think, yeah, I think he'll be good. I think he needs to adapt his game a little bit. We'll see if he can do that. Not everybody can. Remember when KANE, whenever he first burst into the league and burst into the scene, people didn't know how to defend him either, and then he kind of got figured out and had to adapt his game. We'll see if Kulusevski can do the same. He's a young kid. I say, why not? I think he can do it.
Oh, I'm muted. I said, why not? I'm sitting here talking to myself and I'm muted. What a professional host I am. OG, yes, we are all Spurs fans. Real quick, I'm going to bring in another guest. He can't be here long, but when he is here, it is such a sweet, sweet time. You know him. You love him. You see him all over the place. His name is Patrick Tyrant. How are we doing, my friend? It is great to have you, even if it is momentarily. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Thank you for having me on. It's crazy because obviously we try and hook up and get together, but time schedules and everything else means I can't really get on as much as I'd like to. But yeah, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy the season's over as well, man. Thank God it's over. Do you know what I mean? It's been a horror show. So yeah, obviously the first 10 minutes. What have you guys been talking about?
Really, most of it was the bureaucratic stuff to please like and subscribe. Here's membership, check these people out, etc., etc. But then I opened it with Kulusevski. There's talk about his release. I mean, Fab came out with a tweet saying that we haven't done anything yet. There haven't been talks. Kulusevski saying that he's going to wait to talk to the club. And then there's other news outlets reporting that he has, in fact, already, we're agreeing to terms with him. We've activated the clause, etc. So I was just going around asking, first off, do you think it's worth the money? Is it worth the gamble, the 25, 35 mil for Kulusevski, based on what we've seen in the, 18 months we've had the guy here? Is it worth that gamble? And then second, are you going to, do you think that it's a fluke that, that the season he's had, or do you think we could get back to seeing the Kulusevski we came to know and love?
Yeah, first and foremost, what's up, Cole, Ellie, of course, and Ash.
Right.
Good to link
up,
up
man?
with you guys and
Nice
everything
to
like
meet
that.
you,
Yeah, nice to be on there with you. But Kulu, yeah, man, I love him. I think he's a great player. I caught the end of what Cole was saying, and I agree. I think he's a really good talent. Had a rocky season this year. I think people have figured out that he's such a good player, and they've essentially doubled up. He needs to learn to use his right foot a bit more because he's getting figured out on the left. But really and truly, I think he's a great talent. Even in a really bad season, he got like 7 or 8 assists. And we all know he's been off it for most of the season. So I think with a good rest, obviously, hopefully not getting injured next year, a manager that plays attacking football, which he can, buy into, have a regular spot. I mean, he's had 3 managers in the space of 12 months. That's a lot for somebody who is still figuring things out and settling in. So that's going to take its toll. Obviously, the World Cup as well, being in the middle of the season, was a bit of a weird one. I still think there's a great player in there, and we've seen it in bursts and in moments. Obviously, we didn't see the same dynamic player we saw at the back end of last year, but for 25 mil, it's a no-brainer. And I'm hoping that the reports, like you said, the latter reports where saying that he has activated and we are speaking to him, he's looking to sign. It doesn't make sense to not do it, in my opinion. And I think next year we will see a much better version of Kulu.
I agree. For me, I'll answer my own question real quick. I think I don't know what kind of right winger, 22 years old, you're going to get for much cheaper with the upside of what we have seen him do in the Premier League. Now, granted, this season, a lot of stick he's come under, Son as well. And I would argue that the way we were playing this season wasn't necessarily tailored to their strengths. I would also argue a little bit, though, that maybe Kulusevski could play better in this system because it almost suits his strength, playing with his back to the goal, playing high up. I mean, the pace has never really been there for the guy, but I saw him last match really trying to put the burners on, and he's really not able to. So I don't know that he's necessarily the right option, but I just don't know for 25, 35 mil what other right winger you're going to get with as much promise anyway. So that's my spiel on it. I mean, we'll see what happens. It remains to be seen. I won't be upset if we activate that release clause. I won't be upset if we don't. That's just kind of where I'm at with it. But there was a point that the Perchy made earlier. Let me see if I can find it. He said something. Basically, yeah, we should only be getting him if it is in the next manager's plans. And I agree with that wholeheartedly, because the fact that we're looking at making these moves, we don't even have a director of football. We don't even have a manager. I know that a lot of our U21s that got relegated recently are all looking at leaving the club as well. We're in a really precarious position right now as a club. Ellie, let me ask you what you think as far as where we're at as a club. Does it matter that we don't have a director of football? Is it okay that we're sitting here looking at trying to make transfer moves? What do you think?
No, I said it in my stream earlier as well, that we don't even know what the new manager or the new DOS vision is and the plan. So, but the thing is, if I'm a manager coming in and I see Kulu and KANE and they're both signed, I'm very happy, because regardless of the situation, which is a bit of a shit show at the moment, you must admit, because it's 64 days now and we haven't even appointed somebody.
I'm going to break the record.
You know what I mean? I think it's 75 days before, if I'm right. But the thing is, I going on Kulu, right? I think, right, this is another angle. I think he's better as a number 10, because on the wing, you get a lot of really good defenders on the wing, but in the middle, they're not as good, and you can beat the midfielders, right? He's a very good technical player. He can hold the ball. He's strong. I think he's best suited to a number 10 role, in my opinion, right? Because I think he gets found out on the wing a lot, right? So, and I think Porro can fill that role instead, because he's got a good cross on him as well, and he can play with both feet. You see?
I agree with.
That's
sorry,
my
Ellie,
own
go ahead.
personal opinion. It's just my own personal opinion. I think
Yeah.
he'll be best suited as a number 10.
Perchy, I sent you on WhatsApp. I was typing that right now. But I sent you the link on WhatsApp if you do want to join. Stuart says, I'd be upset if we didn't get him unless we got someone better. I do have options that I think are better. I'm gonna be honest. I think Samuel, he hasn't proven in the Premier League, but Samuel Chukwuemezi, he's a great right winger out there for Villarreal. He's had some crazy good goals. I don't know. It almost seems like a buy of ease, a buy of convenience, rather than a buy that we're like, this is what we need. We need him. We want him. Let's get him in.
Can I add into that? I think
Absolutely.
personally, I think you guys are. I think it is someone that we need personally, and I think if we want to be a good team again, we need strength in depth. And regardless if we do go out and get someone else, we still need Kulu, in my opinion. If we really want to go full tilt at these cups and obviously secure at least a top 6 finish next year, we need quality, and he is quality. He's had a bad season. I think a lot of people are writing him off way too early. I think he's a great player, and like Eddie said, he can play as a 10, he can play on the wing. And if we get a good manager that plays front foot attacking football, who actually knows how to interchange and change up the system depending on who we're playing and how things are going, Kulu is someone who's adaptable and can play both positions in the same game. So for me, it's a no-brainer. I think he's quality. I think under the right manager, we will see a much better version of him. If this was a year ago, none of us would be even saying, yeah, let's see what else is out there.
Yeah.
The last 12 months has clouded a lot of people's vision. The guy's quality, man.
To be fair, Patrick, on your point there, at the end of last season, myself and Michael, the other half of United Spurs of America, we were saying, let's sign that release clause, get him signed up now.
No brainer.
And now I'm changing my tune a little bit.
Yeah.
Perchy, welcome, my friend. You've been in the chat. You've heard. How are you doing?
Perch.
Yeah, I'm all good, mate. Yeah, no.
Happy Tuesday. What are your thoughts on Kulusevski and the release clause, and if we should do it or not?
I think I sit back and I've just been listening and I'm gauging what everyone saw, and everyone was very pro want to keep a hold of him. And I'm not against it, by the way. I'm very similar to your perspective, Jake. If we didn't sign him, I wouldn't care too much. If we did sign him, I'd be like, okay, it's not the end of the world for me. But when we all talk about our last season and stuff, I think we have to put into some perspective here. We've seen him have a good start to his career in the first half of the season, which was what? February, March, April, May. So 4 months. He's had a good 4 months at Spurs, realistically. Let's be fair with it. This season he's been awful. And I think and I don't think it's fair. I don't think we can't discredit that. This season he's been awful. He's been one of our worst players.
Awful.
Huh?
Is it awful? I don't know. I feel like that's a little harsh.
He scored the same amount of goals as Eric Dyer this season. I think we have to let's put that in perspective. By the way,
Pedro Porro came in January and he's doubled his goals.
I don't think he's been awful. I think that's a bit far fetched. Yeah, I'm being serious.
We've been crap this season, mate.
Yeah, we have, but the whole team has been crap. Not just him.
Of course, but we can also judge him as being crap.
I mean, yeah.
He's been patchy. I was patchy.
Passion, has he?
Patchy. He said patchy.
Patchy. So
patchy.
I think
much like my beard.
Just like mine as well. Good one. No, but I sit back and I kind of sit back and
Eric Dyer. Only.
I didn't compare it. I didn't compare him with Eric Dyer. That wasn't what I was doing. I was just trying to put perspective into what's happened here. The fact is Eric Dyer shouldn't be at this football club, but that's not the conversation. But the point is, though, we need to start when people say he's really good, he's amazing, he's all that. We've based that on 4 months of football. Yeah, when he came in, he was great. Loved him. What a player! Our ginger from Sweden. Woohoo!
I love that ABBA song, by the way. But we don't sign him for the ABBA song. I don't know why.
But let's put it. Oh, by the way, he's scored one more goal than Richarlison, who's been considered the flop of the season, and not just at Spurs, across the Premier League. So we have to put things into perspective here, no?
Actually, what about the assists? He's our second most creative player, and he's been awful. He's got 7 assists.
No. But
what about that? If we're gonna talk about, we've got to talk about both sides.
When we put it into comparison, yes, he's got 7 assists. We've scored nearly 70 goals this season. Yeah. So he's only got 1/10 of the assists. I'm trying to base
which
it
is
on...
good. No, he doesn't take dead balls. He doesn't take corners. He doesn't take free kicks. So all of his assists have been in play.
Open play.
Yeah.
I know. As I said, Pat. I'm not one of these sitting there saying we should go and. I'm not here one of saying that we shouldn't sign him. By the way, I'm just trying to put a bit of balance to it because I sit back and think.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
We can't be sitting there going, it's a banker to sign him. It's a no-brainer.
For 25 mil, it's a no-brainer. I feel like for that price.
The 25 mil is the 25 mil though is a reduced rate. By the way, it should be 35 mil. Yeah. That's us trying to get a cheaper price because he's been crap this season.
Hey, I mean, Levy's going to levy, right? So
no,
I mean,
but of course, I get all that. But and it was just a point that I think Jacob made earlier, and he put up my comment about what if we
the next manager.
What if we bring in a manager that plays high press and attacking football on the front foot? We're pressing from the front. Kulusevski can't do that. He hasn't got the legs for it, and maybe that means we have to move him into a different position, in a position that we've not really seen him. I think he could probably play that role because he's very technical. He's very technically gifted in that sense. But we haven't probably seen enough of him as a number 10 to go, well, we're going to have to change him as a player if we sign him. Surely we should be... Isn't this the sort of thing that we've been doing for such a long time at Tottenham and that we've completely criticised? We're getting players because it's a good value. We believe it's good value. But realistically, I don't necessarily care. If Kulusevski's not the player for our next manager, I don't want it. I'm not that attached to him that I go, I'm not that bothered if he doesn't sign for us. Does that make sense?
I hear you, Perchy. I do. I feel like I see both sides of this argument here. Like, I don't think he's been as awful as our entire squad has been. But I mean, if you look at statistics, and I'm a big 50-50 guy when it comes to statistics versus the eye test. I trust my eyes, but I like the statistics to back up what my eyes are telling me or to rebuttal something that I may see different. But when you look at statistically at our squad, he is our 12th best player, which that doesn't crack the top 11 players statistically on an average throughout the whole season. I mean, I guess we could take out Matthew Craig. He's above him, and Matt Doherty. So that would put him, what, 9th out of regular players for Tottenham Hotspur. By his standards, not good enough. I agree wholeheartedly.
Jacob, here's a question, though. What is his standard? Because it's very hard to judge it. And this
I didn't watch him in Italy. Did you watch him much for Juve?
I know. I
only watch him really for Sweden.
I'm saying we have to judge him at Tottenham. I always sit on this basis that we judge him at Tottenham. But when we say judge him he's not been at his best. But what is his standard? Because how can we use the sample of half a season as a sample to judge him on? Let's be frank and honest. He's played worse He played worse for this season than he has last season. Does that make sense? People kind of get the concept of what I'm trying to say.
I get you.
What I would say to that, you look at a player's skill set, right? You look at what he can do on the ball, off the ball, right? I think you're right about off the ball. He can't really press at a consistent rate, right? And if we do get a manager like that, but what I look at is for technical skill, his strength. He's very good at holding the ball. He nurtures the ball. He knows when to pass. He's got a lot of skill set that, you know, a lot of our players haven't got. He's just not performed.
No, I get that. And that's my point, though. I'm not sitting there saying that he's a bad football player, because I think he's a good player. He's a good player. I'm not going to go crazy. He's amazing. He's a good player.
Yeah.
He can be better. But my point has always been about he's a very, I would say, very one-dimensional player in a sense. He's got one very good skill set in the sense of he's very good at cutting in on one side. But my point is if, for example, the next manager we get in wants to play pressing football, why would we want to sign him? Because it doesn't fit the skill set and what we would need on a right-sided winger. Does that kind of?
Should we be the team that would pay 25 mil for a bench player? Because I mean, even if he doesn't start, I feel like he's a threat coming off the bench. But I also wanted to ask you this: do you guys think he's better than Steven Bergwijn who we let go?
Yeah, I do.
100%. Yeah.
Better.
I don't know. Listen,
he's better than Bergwijn.
I wouldn't say he's massively better.
Yeah.
He's definitely. I think he's.
I think technically he's better. But he's not. I wouldn't.
End product wise, all of that.
Bergwijn's a lot quicker than he is, and he's a bit more. He has more dynamism in him.
It's not all about pace though. It's about end product. I look at end product and what he delivers, and Kulusevski.
His end product has left him for 2 goals this season.
Yeah.
But what about the assist though? Like he's got a lot of assists.
Okay, if you want to say his assists,
you keep talking about the goals, but assists as well, they count. And like Cole said, I think our end product is good in that sense. Yeah. He typically, more often than not, picks the right ball. His weight of pass is really good. So from an attacking standpoint, I think he's a good player.
I've said that as well. I think he's a good player, but I think a lot of people go a bit overboard with him. And I'm not saying
I think I'm being quite.
I'm not saying everyone here. I'm just saying I see a lot on social media, and I go, "Oh my god, we have to keep him. He's amazing." No, he's okay, guys. I think he's
okay. Might be the people that bought his jersey, because I know his kit sales went through the roof this past season. That third kit with Kulusevski is one of the most common third kits I've seen.
Yeah.
Hey, I've got red hair too. I got to stick with my own kind.
Ginger from Illinois over there.
You're our ginger from YouTube.
Yeah.
No, he's our ginger from America.
Yeah.
Coming back to the pace bit, Glenn Hoddle had no pace.
Harry Kane has no pace.
We're not comparing.
Kulu plays a lot like Kane.
Hoddle was incredible.
I'm not comparing him to Hoddle.
Yeah.
I'm comparing the pace bit.
No, of course.
He had an intelligent football mind.
Yeah, of course.
Right? And Kulu's got a similar ilk in terms. He's very intelligent. The way he sees things, he's got very good vision. Right? He sees things before other players do, and that's why he was so effective last season.
I've got to go, guys.
This season, they have found him
out. Real quick,
hey,
Ellie. I don't want to cut you off. Patrick, big up yourself right now. When's the next time you're live on YouTube where people can find you?
Right now, I'm on Best of the Rest with Saeed, Carefree Lewis, Fremzy. That's happening right now at 6 o'clock, so I've got to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can catch him there, but hopefully after the show here.
Don't leave this show, of course.
Definitely. Yeah. And you know what? The comments What's that?
What time is this show going on till?
I'll probably go tops another hour and a half, hour 40.
Okay, cool. I might jump.
That's tops, just because. But we got a nice little panel here. We might go that long. So
all right, then catch you.
I can't. My wife has to go to work, and I got to take care of that boy. But Patrick, thank you so much for joining us. There he goes. There goes
my one ally in this whole Kulu debate, though. So I'm all alone now.
It's great getting an opinion from Perchy as well, because you are giving valid points.
No, I agree. The only thing I will say that Bergwijn has better than Kulusevski is pace, neck tattoos, and celebration. That's about it. Phil?
Okay,
How you doing?
I'm not.
What's up, Phil?
But my point was here is I'm not sitting there saying that we should or we shouldn't. Listen, I think Kulusevski is a good player. I think he's a good player. I don't think he's terrible. I think he's had an awful season, by the way. But as I've always said though, like if we're not going to play the way he fits a certain mold as a player, and if we're not going to fit that mold when we're in the new manager, it's kind of a pointless waste of money. Like my point being is I'd rather spend the 25 million, 35 million, whatever it is. It really doesn't bother me, but on a player that fits the mold of the new manager. Does that make sense?
We probably won't have a
agree.
new manager until after preseason, though. You know what I mean? Like, we can't just
we'll have a manager
twiddle our
before-
thumbs.
We'll have a
I
manager
think we'll
before
have
preseason.
someone on the airplane to Australia. I might be
No,
wrong.
we'll have to.
Spurs
We'll
are-
have to have a manager before
I
preseason.
want that Australian bloke so bad. So
Well,
bad.
speaking still on Kulusevski, Phil, I'm curious where you land on this matter. We've kind of gotten everyone. What side of the fence are you, or are you sitting on the fence nice and comfortably?
I'm still
Like
in
I am.
the-
I'm sitting on the fence right now, and it's nice and
I'm-
comfortable.
I'm still on the Kulu train, Jacob, if I'm honest. I'm waiting to hear from the Romero conversation at the minute. I just want Perch inside of that.
Yeah, you don't know my opinion on it, Phil, do you? It's not like we've been ranting and raving in the group chat for the last
I've been
3
looking at
days.
your diary.
Anyway, but I'm inclined to agree with Ellie actually when she was saying, you know, he would be better in a 10. I don't think he's got the pace to be, you know, a winger. If I'm honest, I think his injury has plagued him a little bit this season. Along with a disruptive season as well for all the players in the squad. And it is going to affect the players. The confidence is so low in the players as well. So it's going to affect him. But I think he would do well in a 10. I would keep it. I would buy him. I would buy him, if I'm honest. 35 million, is it? Pounds, that is. So
Yeah.
I think it's worth doing.
I see your point there, Phil. Real quick, big up Wolves Finland, Wolves F1. However, I think Wolves Finland, right? I don't know how I'm supposed to say it, but big up yourself right now.
I
Says
always thought it was Wolves F1, by the
impotence.
way.
Leave you out.
Here's a
Wolves.
question: does anyone remember the goals who he scored against?
Who?
See if,
Kulu?
let's test your knowledge of the season. Who does Kulusevski scored against this season? Which teams?
I think he was wearing the third shirt, if I visually can remember. Am I correct? Was he wearing the third shirt, Perch? Can I have that
I'll be
hint?
honest, I don't remember that one, but
I'm a visual guy, so like colors and that I can remember him celebrating in the third kit. That's all I can really remember. But he's only got what, 2 Premier League goals?
he scored 2 goals. Can you pick the? Does anyone in the chat know the answer? Without
And they weren't and they weren't
Okay,
peaches
so-
either. Like they weren't beautiful goals if I remember correctly. One especially was
If you
kind of
remember him
scuffed.
correctly, Paul, you'll tell me which teams he scored against.
Crystal
hard.
Palace
It's a
away
good question.
was one
Huh?
of them. Crystal
Where?
Palace away?
Nope, didn't score against Palace away this
No?
season. Nope.
Okay.
We are joined by some royalty in the back.
Well, one home goal and 1 away goal.
It's not Everton. It's not Everton, is it?
Nope. He scored in the opening game against Southampton.
Before you say the second one,
Southampton,
Perchy, I have another guest to bring in. Maybe he knows
Go
the
on.
elusive answer to this
Southampton,
question.
yeah.
You all know him, you love him. Big up Wolves Fight. Thank you for that super chat. First super chat of the day from Wolves Fight. I'm going to star that, give you a big old thank you at the end because you are going above and beyond. And thank you for that, Mr. Wolves, my Adama Traore fanboy, including myself. I appreciate you. Let me bring him in. You know him, you love him. It's been a while since he's been here, but anytime he's here, it's a good time. We got Sean from Spurs Talk Show. How are we doing, buddy?
So,
Sean!
Look
I
at
need the
this.
laugh. I need the Sean laugh. I've missed it in my life so much, bro.
What's crack-a-lacking, people?
Damn, Ellie.
Sean will know the answer, by the way. Sean will know the answer.
Sean, what are the 2 teams that Kulu
I am
scored against?
good. Kulu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kulu scored against.
It's toughy, huh?
Hang on. Was it Wolves?
It wasn't Wolves. I'll give you
Dang.
another guess. He scored 2 goals. Who were the 2 teams?
Oh.
I'll give you another go.
Bournemouth?
I've already said the first
Nope.
one.
Big up, James.
At this point, I would just be guessing, so I can't even. I don't.
He scored in the opening game of the season. That's a clue.
Southampton.
Southampton.
And the other one in an away game which we lost.
So he was wearing the third shirt. Yeah.
I don't think it was. I might be wrong, but I'm not sure. Maybe. May have been.
Bournemouth?
Nope. It was.
Oh, we beat Bournemouth.
It was.
Wait!
Stop Googling it.
That was Nottingham Forest, wasn't it? It was Nottingham Forest, wasn't it?
No, you're even Googling it. You got it wrong.
Manchester way as well.
I was looking at the assist. It's Man
I
City.
think Man City as well.
I should have known.
he
He's
might have
always
been-
good for
was
a
it
goal
Man
against
City?
City.
That was my first guess.
He
Man
scored
City.
there
two
the
lost.
previous
Man
season
City.
as well, didn't he?
Huh?
Yeah.
He scored at Man City the previous season as
Yeah,
well.
He did. Yeah.
He did, yeah.
Yeah.
He did. Yeah.
What a guy. He can see we all score against Man City. Come on.
He does it.
But they can't score against us at home, at least.
Yeah, they battered us in that second half. I remember when we were 2-0
Yeah.
up.
2-0 up.
One thing I wanted to mention
you
as
seen,
well.
Yeah,
we're not
Ash.
taking into account the actual goals that he set up that wasn't put away as well. So that showed
Yeah.
Oh, no.
goal creation assist as
Oh,
well.
here we go.
So
They keep
now
passing
I'm just
shit.
saying, because
I
I
have a look.
remember,
Seven
Have a
big
look,
chances
no, this is
created.
my point. Because I can see what side you're on, Perchy. Because Perchy's like, no, I'm not saying, but from that,
Well, like the
reaction,
build-up
that
in
tells me
play,
everything I need to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for
Keep
me,
passes.
You can
Keep
say whatever
passes,
you
yeah.
want in the chat,
Ash
Lisa. You can say whatever
Ash
you
is
want.
putting the cream on the cake.
I'm just being honest. I'm being honest because there were certain things I saw from Kulu, even in against Leeds, against our last home game against who was it? Our last home game, Bournemouth was it? No, not Bournemouth. Aston Villa. Who's our last home game? I can't remember.
Brentford.
Brentford. Sorry, yeah, Brentford. I
that
saw
one.
things that, like, I was watching Kulu and I was impressed. I was like, it's not coming off, but as an attacker, you need to take risks. And I think he was doing that. Danjuma was playing on the right as a winger. He was playing more of an inside, more as a 10. On the left, obviously, was Son, and then Kane was up top, but they were attacking as a 4. Sometimes Kulu was on the right-hand side. Sometimes Kulu was central. And sometimes Kulu was on the left-hand side. And he was causing them all sorts of problems for Brentford. He was. And
He
like
was
you
our,
said,
he's our
Ellie,
second highest rated
just-
player on the day, so you're right. He did a
it's just about knowing that players' attributes, what he can do on the ball, what he can do off the ball, what his strengths are, and playing to those strengths. And sometimes managers and coaches haven't been able to bring out the best or play Kulu to his strengths.
He's
in
been
my
injured
opinion,
all
from what I've seen.
season. He's had a,
And
he's had
he
a
hardly had
hamstring
a-
All season, was he? I don't
And
think it was
pace was never his strong suit. So having an injury where he loses that little tiny bit of pace, that he did have, that he could exploit, I mean, is definitely going to hurt him. Hopefully he gets that back. I don't see why he wouldn't. But yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of arguments to be made, excuses. We'll have to
25
wait and
million
see. But
quid
I
is
think
to snip
He's
for
grab
some
him.
talent.
Yeah.
Brian Hill costs more than that. We paid more than that for Brian Hill.
Emerson
I'm sorry,
Royale
did
costs more
we
than that.
just mention Brian Hill?
Yeah,
Obligatory.
yeah.
I have to put this up. Anytime on this channel, Brian Hill's mentioned, I have to put this up. Paratici Masterclass.
I like that face.
Paratici.
This is Paratici in the boardroom. We'll get nothing. You get-
Who is this poor guy in the photo though? So that guy had nothing to do with anything.
he made the meme. He made the trade. It was like famous trade offer, and it was like everyone puts different stuff.
Oh,
and
I
obviously
thought
it's been
you
memed.
made the meme.
No, I saw. Shout out at whoever the fuck on Twitter. That's who made that meme.
Shout out.
Shout them out. Always on this channel, I'm shouting them out.
I would even put Brian Hill as a 10, me personally.
Do
If
you know
he's
how
ever
many
got more
followers
strength.
whoever the fuck on Twitter has got from people around the world who use that phrase? Shout out to at whoever the fuck on Twitter. That particular account has got about 45,000, and apparently they are experts in a plethora of different topics.
He's a reliable source here for the show. He's always putting up good stuff for the show here. I don't even remember what my next topic was because we're just having such a good conversation here. Actually, I do. I started. It's from Bobby K. He says, Rodgers incoming. How do you all feel about that? Has anyone heard anything about Rodgers today that I'm unaware of?
No, I have not.
Coming in.
I've actually only thing I've seen is that
Super.
I don't think that's dead. I don't think
worked
that's
out.
dead in the water yet. Nagelsmann.
It's
I
not
think it's
dead
dead
in the
water.
water.
Would we even respect him? He would be younger than some of our players. I just feel like he wouldn't. I don't know how much respect he would command in the dressing room.
Who?
Oh, Nagelsmann.
Nagelsmann.
Oh, come on, of course he will.
37?
Good manager.
Yeah.
It's got to be. I want it to be Nagelsmann. I don't see it anymore. I don't see it, but I hope it is.
It ain't going to be Brendan. If it was Brendan Rodgers or Graham Potter, then they could have had it wrapped up by now.
Yeah. No. I don't
Yeah, because they've been unemployed.
So it's the Celtic bloke.
Options. I think it'll be one of them two.
Could be
Rodgers or Potter.
It could be. He's got another cup final to go yet, hasn't he?
Yeah.
What's stopping? Ange Postecoglou makes sense because of the delay.
Yeah.
Nagelsmann makes sense because of the fact that apparently, I don't know if this is true or not. I read it on whoever the fuck on Twitter. He put it out there.
Reliable.
He's such a reliable source of information.
He's the guy.
He said that it might be a she. I don't know. I don't want to presume genders. She said that
They said. Yeah.
they could be a they. They said that.
I knew it.
They said
Ellie's at whoever the fuck.
said that. At whoever the fuck said that Nagelsmann's compensation package that is no longer like he's on gardening leave until the summer, until June the 15th or something. After that, according to at whoever the fuck, there is no more compensation to pay. And I think that's a worthwhile wait, right? Like you wait for that one. But
of course.
If it's not Postecoglou and if it's not Nagelsmann, if it's one of the guys out of contract, then what are we waiting for? You would have seen more news about
it will be
Rodgers.
the contingency plan, isn't it? Brendan Rodgers or Graham Potter's a contingency plan, you'd think.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Postecoglou is the man.
The worrying thing though, Sean, is no one else has snapped them up. They haven't been snapped up by another club, which is weird. Potter and Rodgers.
But there's no
really that weird. But Rodgers and Potter, they're not highly desired. I mean, who's out there? What managers are out there?
Crystal Palace are the only team that need a manager apart from us.
Yeah.
Ooh, would you guys want Luis Enrique?
Yeah.
How would you feel about that? I've seen his name kind of bandied about a little bit today on Twitter.
Not really.
Nowhere near the right manager for the Tottenham.
He plays a very.
I don't know anything. I don't know anything about the man. I don't know anything about his style. I don't know anything about how long he stays at clubs.
Tiki-taka football. He's been out of club. He's manager of Spain for both the World Cup and the Euros. He's been out of action since the World Cup. He was manager of Barca, I think 6 years ago was the last time he was in club management. Look, he's a tiki-taka guy who comes in.
I don't think we have the players to suit his style anyway.
Nowhere near the players. Yeah.
Nowhere near.
A whole new lot of players.
And would he stay? And would he stay long enough for a project? He doesn't seem like a project. Yeah.
No, because the second a big football club goes knocking for someone like a Jose Enrique, he's walking off. Why would he?
To be honest,
I think he'll go Napoli as well.
I want a manager that comes in and gets a 5-year deal.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? Straight away. I don't want a 2-year, 3-year deal. I want a long project so he can start from fresh.
And we see that 5-year deal out. I think that is critical for us this season.
100%.
Trust the process, right?
I don't think you'll give a 5-year deal anymore. I think the 5-year deal things are a little bit crazy. Unless you're paying big compensation and then you want to amortize it over the contract. But I reckon just with the
don't you think with these short-term deals though, Sean, that it's a little bit untrustworthy a little bit. So do you know what I mean? Give him that.
No, I'm not saying 2 years. I think 4 year, maybe 3.5 years.
Yeah. Reasonable.
Yeah. Fine. I doubt you'll see a 5-year contract being handed out.
Yeah, because remember Klopp came out and he said, I'll win something in 4 years, and he fulfilled his mission. It took him 3 years, didn't it, Klopp? And on the 4th year, he won something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the 4th day of Klopp.
Yeah, well, it had to be against us, didn't it?
Big up Julie Sievers with the $20 super chat. No message, but just the $20 super chat. Big up yourself, Julie. Thank you so much for the donation to the channel. I believe that's your mother, Colin?
You are correct.
Big shout out to Mama Colin. The same last name. I recognize the last name. So.
Dinner's ready.
I gotta go, guys. I'll be right back.
Just a message said, "Get your ass home, Colin. It's dinner time.
Yeah.
Big up, Julie Severs. Thank you so much for the donation to the channel. Goes a long way. Also, big up Mile High Hotspur. Big up everyone who's joining in. Got a lot of people joining in now. We got 25 viewers. Please do hit that like on your way in if you haven't already. Participate in the poll if you haven't already. I'm going to ask the panel here what their answers are. I did make this show last night thinking the topic would be, and let's just pick players from these relegated teams who we think we'd like on our squad. I have a few. I have a couple lists myself. It's kind of a precursor to Jacob's transfer target show that's going to come out at some point soon. But I'll start around the horn. Ellie, I'll start with you. Who is your top relegated target? If you could pick one player from the 3 relegated teams, I gave options. The top 3 options, in my opinion, are Lavia. That's Romeo Lavia from Southampton, James Maddison, Crescencio Somerville, and then the other is other comment. Do you have anyone else outside of those 3 who'd be your top target, or is one of them your top target from the 3 relegated teams?
I've always said I always wanted Maddison. Because not only can he assist, but he scores goals from midfield that we've been lacking. We've been so lacking in that department. Since we lost Ericsson, we haven't replaced him either, and Dembele. So we need somebody who can control the midfield. Because our midfield players, they're much less. Once Bentancur comes back with Maddison and Bissouma, that'll be a fantastic midfield. Right, okay, Bissouma can't score, but he's a very good technical player who can hold the ball.
Dictates tempo.
Scored a banger versus us, if I recall.
But
He
Maddison can do that as well, but he can also score goals. That we need goals, and goals get you over the line as well.
And we can't keep relying on KANE to be our only goal scorer.
No.
You know what I mean? So yeah, getting some goals from midfield would be nice. We haven't had that in a while. It's been a while since we've had a genuine threat. Since Ericsson, maybe? Since Ericsson, that we had a goal threat from midfield.
Yeah.
So, well, Colin, since you're talking about it, who are you picking? Who's your one player? Is it James Maddison as well?
Yeah. I personally really don't like the guy's attitude, and everything I've ever heard about him suggests that he's kind of a prick, but
yeah,
that's fine. That's fine. Whatever. We're at a point now at the club where we just need talent. We just need to get him in the door. It's always been, we supposedly when we scout and we look at players, it's their attitude is a big component, but that really hasn't gotten us anywhere. You know what I mean? So let's get a couple pricks in, and let's try that, because obviously what we've been doing hasn't been working. I would take it. And supposedly we've been after him for a couple of seasons. His team's just been relegated. I mean, what better time now than to
grab him up? Yeah. Perchy, I know you got to go too. So let me get your answer before you sign off here, my friend.
On James Maddison?
No, if you could pick one player from the 3 relegated teams, who are you picking?
If it was me, I'd go and get Lavia.
Yeah? You think he walks into this starting 11?
I think he walks in, but he's also got it's also someone that we can work and build around. Just think of a midfield 3 of a Lavia playing in a deeper role next to the likes of a Bissouma and a Bentancur. I think it's a good collection, but I think Lavia's got a genuine future at this football club. Personally, I think if we sign someone like a Lavia, I think whoever gets him's got a really good player long term.
And he's
fair play.
I think he's only 19, 20, any. So yeah, I have to shoot. But thanks so much, Jake, for having me on, mate.
Good to see you, Perchy.
Yeah, of course. Perchy, when's the next time you're live? Where can people find you? I'm pulling up your link, so this is my stall tactic.
An hour with I think it's Alan. I forgot with Alan.
Alan Clark.
Yeah, Alan
Clark.
Added on. In my head, I kept hearing Alan Sibley, but I'm not streaming with him. No, but Alan Clark, I'm streaming with in about an hour.
I always hear Alan Sibley in my head as well.
I'll go and have a shower and get changed. But
yeah. Alan Sibley's a good dude. But
I love Alan Sibley. Shout out Alan Sibley. Yeah, big up Perchy. There is the link. Go subscribe to the Perchy TV.
Can you get 4 subs to get to 420? It'd be lovely.
Oh,
he's 620.
Funny
4 subs get him up to 620. Yeah, big up Perchy. Have a good day. Thanks for joining.
Not from Perchy.
There he goes. And then there were 6. I'm going to go right there. I feel comfortable down here because I can point at the comments and stuff. But there goes Perchy. Big up Nick Carlson. Barry Ranjit as well. This is a good shout. Nato, the young Italian from Leeds. He's a nice player. I like him.
I'm ignorant to that. I don't know a thing about that man.
Wilfred Gnonto, yeah, young Italian lad. He joined. He originally they signed him. They did a Destiny Udogi deal with him in the club he was at, I think some French club he was at before. And then they were like, "We need an attacker, so we're just gonna recall him anyway." Kind of something I wish we did with Udogi, honestly. And then Stuart says only Madison. Cockeyed TV says ketchup. The bottle of ketchup player. What's his name? Balla ketchup. I don't know. Bella Kotchap. Ashmatic. You want Bella Kotchap? You want James Madison? You want Lavia? What are you thinking? You get one player.
I'll have them all.
Yeah, I know. I want them all too.
No, I do like Lavia. I'm not gonna lie to you, but he's got no end products. But obviously he's deployed as a 6, so you don't really need an end product if you're a 6. Madison obviously helps with the creativity. That's something we're lacking if Kane's not dropping deep. I think the front 3 have been starved. I think that's the reason why at certain times we've kind of lacked in games where we haven't got over the line because they're feeding off scraps.
Yeah.
So Madison is a good point. I think Barnes. I wasn't a fan of Barnes. I used to like Harrison over Barnes because I thought Jack Harrison had more creativity. Obviously, he just scored against us, but I just feel like as an option on the left-hand side, someone with raw pace, someone's an actual goal threat other than Son. If Son's not performing, you could throw on a Harvey Barnes. He got 12 goals this season. I think it's quite impressive. I think he's one of the most outside of the top 6. So
we've been linked pretty heavily with him in the past too, right?
Yeah, we have. I just think him carrying the ball, him off the ball, him scoring goals, him getting under the box. I think if Son's not firing or we need to switch things up, Harvey Barnes comes on and he asks a lot of questions. Yeah, 12 goals this season. He's my pick at the moment.
Okay, that's a good shout. Honestly, I've never really rated Harvey Barnes, but 12 goals in a relegation year for as a left winger, left mid, that's pretty decent. So, Wolves with some good candidates here: Rodrigo, Harrison, Gnonto. Before McKinney played for Leeds, I probably would have thrown his name out there too. But seeing what he's done in the Premier League, I'm not too impressed with him.
Yeah,
but he is American. We need an American on the damn team. Come on, we need an American.
Let's just call Deuce. Let's just call Deuce back to retirement. Heard Clint Dempsey's not doing anything.
It'd be an American and Greek combination, Jacob.
Yeah, come on.
Aronson's not a bad show. Aronson's not a bad show.
Yeah, I like Harrison. I liked him when he played for New York City FC as well. He was decent. And then I was glad to see that Leeds picked him up. Dan E, big up Dan, says, to be honest, Harrison's a better player than Somerville. I'd rather have him from Leeds. Honestly, Somerville to me is a great young talent. He can play on the right. He can play on the left. He's also played as a central striker before. And when he's come on as a sub, he's had impactful goals that won Leeds some matches last season, this season. But he doesn't start all the time. He doesn't get necessarily the spotlight I think a young player like him should get, especially on the relegation side. But Crescencio Somerville, I think he's a top talent. But if I had to pick one player to come in, I'd probably pick James Madison just because he would fulfill that role that we've all been saying that we need, right? That creative mid. He can score goals. I'm not saying I'd be through the roof excited thinking about our prospects with James Madison because, I mean, obviously he's not God level if he can't save them from relegation. So my thought is I want someone to walk. I want someone who immediately walks into this 11. That's just my opinion. Phil, who do you want? Who do you care if they immediately walk? I mean, because Somerville, I don't think he immediately walks in. I think he's more of a one for the future type of signing, which is why I think Spurs would sign him because we love doing a one for the future and then loan him out. But what's your take? Who's your one player you pick?
My number one's Madison. I've been saying it for a while now. I think he could strike up a good partnership with KANE, like Ericsson did with KANE. I think we're missing creativity massively in this team. I think Barnes, what Ashmatic said, I think he'd be a good addition to this team, even coming off the bench. You know, Lavia, yeah, not a bad player. Will he hit it off straight away in this team? Will he get in the team straight away? I believe we need first team players that come into this squad, not squad players. We need first 11 players. But yeah, they would be my pick.
Yeah, not a bad shout. Julie Sievers says we desperately need a creative mid. Haven't been able to move it through the middle since Eriksson. Spot on, Julie. We haven't replaced an Eriksson type. And then we've also gone away from the way that we used to play like that. Ward Prowse is a slow player like Neves. Only what he offers are his outstanding set pieces.
He's only scored 3 goals from set pieces this year. I know he's the number 1 free kick goal scorer in the league, but he's only got 3. Only got 3. It's not like he's banging in 12 goals from set pieces.
Yeah, that's not great.
I think it's just because he doesn't do that much other. He doesn't do that much else. Like he's like to Wolves' point, right? He is slow. If you want to do a high press, he ain't gonna do it.
No,
like, I don't know what else he offers apart from this masterful set piece reputation. But he actually, whilst he gets them all close, doesn't really score that many to have this kind of this title of being like an absolute monster with set pieces. And to be honest, I used to think he'd be the right guy because how many free kicks did Tottenham get with Harry Kane picking up free kicks on the edge of the area by doing his leansy backsies into the player things. We get so many free kicks in dangerous positions and have got a horrible record of just wasting them all. And I was like, oh, if this guy is such an absolute monster, then maybe he's worth bringing in just for the 8-9 goals he's going to get from that. But when you actually dig into it, you don't score that many. So
yeah,
he's not.
We do need a set piece taker in this team, though. I think
we've got Porro.
Pedro Porro,
yeah.
The Porronator, my prison. It's his prison yard.
But usually a prison yard has like a good defense, a wall, and some guards keeping everyone inside, defending the fort. I don't think
he's the guy. He's the priest. He's the warden. He's not the fucking guy on the. He's not the guy with the sniper in the tower.
Okay. So he just dishes out the punishment necessarily.
Yeah,
I'm trying to.
He's the guy. I don't know what he is, but he's something.
Shout out Jack Kinnicky.
Madison's got the whole package, though, hasn't he? He's got set pieces. Yeah. You know what I mean? Goals, assists. He's got everything. Yeah. I think he'd get a great part of Harry Kane.
Also, a really bad attitude. And he's got. Well, I don't know if you want to bring another person in with a bad attitude. Into
if you get an Ange Postecoglou in there, I think he'll
wipe. Yeah, I agree completely. I want him just because he would be so.
Why?
You ain't gonna mess with him, are you?
No.
Steven Gerrard did wonderful things in Scotland. Can we all just relax a little bit on Ange Postecoglou?
I'm gonna say I never heard his name until Paul Beatty was on a stream with me and was like, "We need to go get the man, Ange Postecoglou." And I was like, "What? Who the fuck is that?"
That's only the second worst Australian accent I've heard today.
Hey, second worst. As long as I didn't get first worst, that's all I care. I want Ange Postecoglou. Big up Patrick Bateman.
Sounds more getting worse.
He wants Postecoglou because he's Australian, just like you want Weston McKennie because he's American. Just like Ellie wants Postecoglou.
I'll take Giovanni Reina. He can play on the right. I just want an American because, last one we had I think was DeAndre Yedlin. This is what Bill said.
I'd rather that fella Aronson than.
Oh yeah, Brendan Aronson.
Didn't we have Dempsey as well?
Dempsey. Dempsey, all he did was help us win at Old Trafford for the first time in however many years. And he was actually a very helpful player. All he did was score. Like he would do nothing for an entire match and then score a really nice goal.
We've had lots of Americans. We've had Casey Keller.
Centre back. What about that centre back from Celtic?
Carter Vickers.
Cameron Carter Vickers. That's right. He was. You're right. That he is American. That's right.
Yeah.
He doesn't even start
like a pro basketball player.
I don't know.
Paul Stalteri scored the when we went to high.
He's Canadian, isn't he? Paul Stalteri.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's Canadian.
All the same thing. All the same shit, right?
You're talking about players. How about Iniachu from Leicester as a backup striker?
Iniachu?
Who?
Not bad.
Yeah.
Iniachu. Yeah, he's
a very talented.
He's worse than Richarlison. He's worse than Richarlison.
No, honestly. He's just, he had an injury, but...
Nah, I mean, Eric Dyer made him look world class. Eric Dyer said, I respect you so much. I'm going to give you so much room. You come at me, I'll back up. Don't worry. I'm not going to stand here and defend you. Go right ahead. So he's got something that puts fear in the eyes of the weak.
Eric Dyer.
God, I haven't even played the video yet. Normally, I play the video the first time we mention his name.
Get
You
it.
want,
get
you
it,
want the
show it.
video?
And you guys never win anything, right? No. And you guys.
That's a fun video.
Makes me angry, man.
Who was everyone's one? Because I haven't given my choice yet. Who was everyone's one choice from the relegated teams?
I picked Madison reluctantly, just because I think, Madison
Goals
reluctantly.
and assists.
And then
Well,
Ashmatic
Madison
said
won.
Harvey Barnes, threw Harvey Barnes out there. What about you, Sean?
I would either pick Lavia or Bella Kotchap. Probably Bella Kotchap, because I think he's got bags of talent and he solves a bigger problem than Madison does. Although I know people are always going to go, no. I think so. I think he solves a bigger hole. I think a left-sided centre-back is massively important, and Bella Kotchap can do that role. And I think if Tottenham were to go and get a top-class goalkeeper like Araya, and then two top-level centre-backs, our team look entirely different. Our team looks entirely different. We're back where we were. We're an improvement on last season's squad with two solid centre backs. Like, I'm not talking about this season just finished, talking about the season before when we actually finished fourth with two decent centre backs and a goalkeeper. Like you take away the 8 goals that Hugo Lloris was responsible for conceding. You take away a dozen goals that Dyer was responsible for. You take away like the 4 or 5 goals that were responsible from Ben Davies and/or Longley, the 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Like Tottenham are entirely different. I understand the value of bringing in a creative player to unlock stubborn defenses.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that you
And
can
to
have
keep
that
Kane from having to drop back.
You can have that in Brian Hill. You can have that we've got to get someone else up the top anyway to replace Lucas and Danjuma. But for me, I know that I'd love to see Raya in, but I know you guys will probably all be like, "What the hell are you talking about?" But I actually don't mind the idea of the Bissouma from Southampton, the goalkeeper, and I even don't even mind Ilan Melier from Leeds. I think
I've heard bad things. I wanted him when they first came up, and I was watching him that season. I really liked him. I was like, "Oh, young French goalkeeper." But now I have a bias against French goalkeepers because of what Hugo's done to me emotionally. So I don't want him anymore. But also, the caveat on there is Spurs fans really didn't like Ilan Melier this season. And when their new interim came up, I guess their second interim, kind of like ours, whenever he came in, he benched him and started the other guy, and fans thought he was doing actually all right, the backup keeper. So I don't know, but he's still young. Melier is like what, 22, 23?
Yeah, his distribution's very good. He's 22 years old. His distribution's very good. He's very flexible. He can get across the air. You've got to remember how many, like, with the way that Leeds were set up for the first half of the season before Sam Allardyce came in, you've got to remember how open they were at the back and all the goals that he conceded. Like, there was no defense. Like, just like in the game on Sunday when Lucas Moura picked up the ball and ran, it looked like, with him jinking left and jinking right, it looked like one of the greatest goals ever scored. But when you actually slow it down and watch it in replay, it was the parting of the seas. Like, the defense just got out of the way, and like Lucas Moura could have just run in a straight line and would have made it through because the players got out of the way. So I just think that Ilan Melier is on the receiving end of a lot of like negative feedback because the defense in front of him gave him absolutely zero protection. And I think that he's got more talent than the stats suggest.
I think we should go all out for Raya. I think Raya's the one, man. I like that Ortega. I like that Ortega from City as well. The second keeper. Every time he's come in, he's done really well. It's good distribution, but he's 31, I believe. So
I'm gonna throw out a goalkeeper who just recently got promoted. My American brother, Ethan Horvath with Luton. Pick him up. He didn't save any of the penalties. They missed the penalty, but he was there. And I remember for USA one time, it was a shootout versus somebody. I don't know who it was. There was a shootout versus somebody. And he had a great save, and everyone went crazy. And then he signed the deal with Luton because of that game. So nice to see him in the Premier League and American keepers. I got a little bit of a bias. Yeah, I'm American. I'm a keeper. American keeper. It just kind of goes hand in hand. But good thing I'm not in the scouting department because I am biased as hell. I want to ask this.
Another good keeper is Kelleher at Liverpool.
I've heard a lot about
him.
The backup for
Very
Allison.
solid keeper.
What are the chances that one of these big clubs would sell us their backup keeper, though?
Well,
he's only got a year left on his contract, and he wants out.
Noises that he wants to leave.
Fair enough. I was not aware.
Oh, well, that'll be fun.
Lads,
Looking
I've just got an email. I've got to jump. I'll come back in a little while if I can. Yeah, if you're still going.
Yeah. Yeah. No worries, Sean.
Hey, really
Take care,
good to
buddy.
see you, man.
Good luck with your phone call.
Thank you very much.
Patrick Bateman throwing out Mendy. I'm not opposed to Mendy. I like Mendy. Yeah. I think he's very talented. Hearing you're after our keeper, I'd take him. You know what? If Pochettino wants to help us get some scraps from Chelsea, I'm perfectly fine with it. That's actually something I did want to talk about a little bit. Ashmatic, I see you nodding along.
Yeah, good point.
Pochettino, it's official. Officially official. Your ex-girlfriend is now with the dude across town who you don't like. How do you feel about it personally and professionally, Ashmatic? Do you care? Is it time to move on? Are we too sentimental as Spurs fans?
Me personally, I can't talk for other Spurs fans. I can only talk to myself as a fan. The board didn't want him. They didn't pick up the phone. So what can you do? Like, he came out and said that he wanted to come back, and they refused to get in contact with him. So for whatever reason, I can't put that on Poch. A lot of people said, you know, he didn't have to go to Chelsea. He could have gone somewhere else. But at the end of the day, the guy's got to do his job. He's got a job's a job, innit? So he's gone to Chelsea, and there looks like they're going to back him to the hill. It looks like they're going to really put real finance behind him, something he didn't really get at Tottenham. So it'll be interesting to see what he does with all that finance at his hands, with his feet. It'll be interesting to see if he can build something worth fighting for, if they actually push up the table, if he can actually get those boys playing, or if it really is a poison chalice. And Chelsea, you know, like a lot of managers, if you don't have that respect, you know, he could be out sooner than you know, they open up the transfer window. He could be out. Who knows? But for me, yeah, if it would be different if, you know, if the board tried to get him and he turned us down, or there was zero attempt of getting him. So I can't be mad at him, in my opinion. I can't be mad. It is what it is. The past is the past. And I just feel like, yeah, it is time to move on. He did know the club inside out. He knows our players. He knows what was needed to do, how to change it, whatnot. But I'm an optimistic person in general. So I'm interested to see how things are done differently with a different face, a different philosophy, a different idea. Because at the end of the day, it wasn't all rosy with Poch. He did do a lot for us. I'm not taking that away, because he did, for the first time, make us look like, in a while, title contenders. I never thought I would say that about Tottenham Hotspurs. He made us into title contenders. He got that team playing a high press. I hadn't really seen a high press before he came about. Remember, he was before Klopp. And he got opposition fans supporting Spurs, like fans that weren't even Spurs fans. We were like the Brighton. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He brought us attacking football. And even more to that, he, for the first time as well, when it came to like a Man City, a Man United, a Chelsea, it didn't matter who the team was, he made us attack them. We didn't defend them. He actually made us stand up against the bullies. And for that alone, that has to have some type of merit in my mind. He has to stand high in my mind for that reason alone. But yeah, coming back to what I was saying, I still would want to see something a little bit different moving forward. A different philosophy, a different idea, a different outlook on football.
I hear you there. I did put a poll in the chat, so those of y'all in the chat, please do participate. Curious to read the temperature of everyone's feelings. The question is thoughts and feelings about Pochettino. Don't care / time to move on. Hurts me / I want a hug. Devastated / he's dead to me. No one's voted that yet. And then happy for him. Because you know what? A little piece of me is in every single answer that you can choose, and I always do that. Real quick before I keep going along, I want to say big up to Bijan Reds. Great channel over there they got, supporting Liverpool, some really cool guys. So please do, if you're into getting content from other clubs as well. I definitely recommend it to Spurs fans. If you're just a football fan in general, they're very knowledgeable, very cool guys, down to earth, and they stream at very good times for me. So I enjoy watching their show. Go check them out. By John Reds. Big up. Thank you for being here. This is kind of why I was bringing it up. I saw that he's already said, no, I don't want Felix, send his ass back to Madrid. Zakaria, I guess, is leaving too, according to Lisa. For me, I don't really care. He's been gone so long. I've already had new chicks. I had new girls to break up with, to get back with, and break up with a new one and get with a new one. This is my third, fourth ex, and we're talking about, oh, it still bothers me that they're going. Yes, he could have chosen another club, but for me, it don't really matter. Once we've parted ways in life, I wish you nothing but the best unless we cross paths in a competitive manner, and then it's fuck you. So that's just how I feel personally. Pochettino did bring me the greatest vibes I've had in my lifetime as a Spurs fan. I know a lot of people who supported the club longer don't say that. But for me, it sucks. It does suck. And it's going to suck when he comes to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium wearing a stupid, ugly ass Chelsea jacket. And then they win 3-1 versus us or something. It's going to hurt. Big up H Talks as well. He's magic, Mauricio Pochettino. It's funny is our fans were singing this when we still had Antonio Conte managing our club.
And everyone forgets the wheels fell off. I mean, like it did not end well with him. You know what I mean? And
pick up Statman Stubbs. Thanks.
And I also don't know how he's going to do at Chelsea. Like the reason why he did so well with us is because he had tons of young players that he could get to buy into his philosophy that would run through a brick wall for him. How many players like that did Chelsea have?
Yeah.
Well,
that's the thing is Chelsea's building young. I'm really afraid of Chelsea, if I'm honest, because they're getting really young, really good, talented players, i.e. Christopher Nkunku. He can play the striker, he can play the central forward, he can play it then, he can play right, he can play left, he can literally play anywhere, and I'm afraid of that, man. Big up, got the sub from Statman Subs and by John Reds. H Talks Chelsea with the super chat. Big up yourself, my friend. Says make sure you smash the like, guys. P.S. London is a round circle, the color blue, apparently. So I'm not gonna read that. I'll read it. He says P.S. London's blue. H Talks not this year, but maybe next year if Pochettino does what I think he can do, which is elevate your club. But H Talks, big up yourself. Thank you so much for the donation to the channel. Also want to say, if you want to go banter a Chelsea guy, this is a good one to do it. Go to H Talks Chelsea, sub to his channel. He's on the road to 100. Just started his channel. Go banter him. Go make fun of Chelsea.
I don't think we can banter anyone at the minute. We just need to be quiet.
Yeah, but see, to me, it is a little bit of that, like, I'll give it and I'll take it because I know where we're at as a club. Do you think Chelsea fans will steal our Poch tune just to bait us? Absolutely. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they?
They will.
Yeah. It takes two to stay friends, and Levy ain't a friend to Poch. That's another sticking point here. A little caveat on the dinner plate is the fact that we didn't even call him. Everyone's confirmed that we never reached out. Because honestly, that would be an admission by the board and by Levy that we messed up the first time around when we should have just backed him and supported him rather than kicking him to the curb. That's why I think we didn't do it. But I'm curious, Colin, I saw you with your hands in your head when I first brought up Pochettino, and I know how much he means to you because we're good friends. Talk to me a little bit about how you're feeling now that it's officially official. He's already making moves. This is what pisses me off real quick before you answer. Other clubs are already talking about this and that and the other, and we ain't even left the fucking gate to start this race. We're still like, maybe this guy, or maybe we'll wait for this guy to finish playing in a final and for him to turn us down officially. We can't lure fucking manager away from the Eredivisie. We are in the mud as a club. And that's just how I feel. The fact that we didn't get Arne Slot. And I was actually excited for the bald fucker to come to Tottenham. But you know what? We move.
I can talk myself into getting excited about anybody, though. You know what I mean? Like, we need a manager so bad. I'm just like, sure, yeah, bring him. That'll be great.
How do you feel about the Poch thing, though? Yeah.
So I'm less and less upset about it as time goes on. You know, we've got all these reports about how we weren't in for him, we never hit him up, but you also can't believe so much of what you hear. I know that him and Ozzy are friends, and so that he probably talked to Poch directly, and that's probably how he got that that little tidbit of info about how we never called him and how we. But it's all speculation. We don't know anything really, to be honest. We don't know anything. I think he and Levy probably kind of left on like a sour note. I don't know if he would have really wanted to come back. I honestly, with the way that things ended, with the way that he wasn't backed, do you think Poch would want to come back? He just came off.
Allegedly, he was waiting by the phone like a chick in the 1980s because you ain't got cell phones. So she's just waiting by the house phone with that long cord all the way to her room. She's just waiting for the phone call. Allegedly, right? It's all alleged. It's all speculation.
Levy's ego got in the way. That's what it was.
Yeah.
I just can't see it. It just seems to me like he's come off of this, not great time at PSG where he
won a trophy.
I know they won a trophy, but they were supposed to win a trophy. You know what I mean? Like that's what they're supposed to do. And so what I'm saying is I don't think Poch. I think he wanted like a guaranteed thing for his career. I think he needs his career to kind of bounce back. And I think Chelsea's a safer option.
But Chelsea's not a guaranteed thing. I hear you, and I agree with you that he needs something to revamp himself, his career, his name, and get himself back in there in a positive light. But Chelsea's not a sure thing. Well, they're a big question mark, and it's going to come down to him being the mastermind, the magician that we've known and loved. But it's going to take some time. He's going to have
to change it up. He can't be the same manager he was at Spurs. That's just not going to work there. I honestly don't think that he could go in with the same attitude and philosophy. Like, I don't think we're going to see Chelsea playing the same exact brand of high pressing football that we played. I think it's going to be a little more pragmatic. But we'll see. I'm less and less upset when I see some of our managerial targets. Postecoglou, is that how we're deciding to say it? I think
that it don't really matter.
I think he's the man. I think he could be the new Poch for us. He could come in. He could, you know what I mean. He seems like the type that could light a fire under people.
Poch was a little more slimmer though, and a little less gray.
True, but also age. I think age is important. I think we need somebody that kind of commands respect, and that's why I was sort of worried about Nagelsmann because he's such a young dude. I don't know. I just it'll be fine. Good for Poch, I guess. He's got a job. It's not like he was hurting for money. Everyone's like, oh, he's got to have a job. He's got to work. Dude's got cash. But, I mean, I get it. You want to work. He loves coaching. He wants to do his job. That makes sense. And he's got family. His kid plays for one of the London teams, right? Doesn't his Maurizio? Doesn't he play for?
Yeah, I thought he was at Watford.
And so I get it. So I get it. It makes sense. It's fine. It's a risk. He's definitely been taking risks in his career. Going to PSG, not going to Chelsea. He's trying to prove himself on the biggest stage. Let's see what he can do. But I think we're going to beat him. I mean, let's go in and we'll smash him. Battle at the Bridge Part 2, baby. I don't know. I'm not nearly as upset about it as I was. Been thinking about it a lot. It's going to make me sad to see him walk out there, like you said the first time, with that dumb Chelsea gear on, but I'm over it.
Yeah, it is a high time that we move on. H-Talk, did you actually get turned down by Slot? That is confirmed. Apparently, we're doing the whole Nagelsmann. We weren't even in for him, and then we'll let him come out later and say, actually, you were blowing up my phone like that one night stand that just couldn't leave me alone. You said, I loved it so much. Let me get one more night, please. And I'm ignoring you. I'm ghosting you because guess what? Feyenoord offered me just as much money, and I'm actually happy here. I don't want to ruin my career, so I don't blame him, but it's the overlying factor, right? Feyenoord, cool. They did good, right? They're cool. They're great. But like, if you go to fucking Chicago and you say, hey, what do you think about Feyenoord Football Club? They say, what the hell are you talking about? You know what I'm saying?
Who? I said, who?
Who? Who the fuck? Yeah, who? That's what I don't get. Big up Kuva. Kuva says, one of our fiercest rivals now has the manager I've loved most during the last 30 years. Meanwhile, we have no manager, director of football, or any signs that we have a plan or direction. Can you euthanize a club? We should have spayed the club. We should have spayed the club a long time ago. But big up, Kuva. Hope you're doing well. There is no plan. There is no direction. We're just kind of out here floating. We're in space when we're not tethered to any kind of space station. We're just floating. And very lonely demise that we are headed for. But big up. Let's see here. Julie Seaver says Poch was the man, but it was so toxic at the end. Both he and Levy were stubborn mules. Maybe one day we do love former Chelsea managers. That's a good point. We do love cherry picking off whatever they get rid of. So I'm just glad we haven't gotten Potter yet or Lampard, because I feel like that's just right up our alley. Julie also says, I admire Poch, but I hope he fails spectacularly. I agree. I don't want them to have any success. Unfortunately, I think it might happen. I think it might happen. Rich, he's magic, Ainge Postacoglu is, I guess, how we're supposed to pronounce it.
I can make it work. I can make that work.
You got to make it work. Make it work, Colin. Watch, we'll get Chelsea at home, first fixture of the new season. Oh my
and
God.
we'll smash them.
That'll be tasty.
2-1, baby.
Oh man. At the end of the day, nobody wants to come in because of one Mr. Daniel Levy. What's up, Phil?
Yeah, what kind of a reception do you think Pochettino is going to have when he comes to a good reception, you reckon?
Yeah.
I'm going to say the same thing that happened when Joseph Stalin's dead body was presented to all the people at the town square. They just threw tomatoes at it, they threw apples at it, and then they hung him up by his feet.
Yeah.
Might not be an appropriate example, but that's the first one that came to my mind. I was like, I imagine it'd be something like that, but maybe a little bit less extreme.
I feel it's going to be a little bit mixed. I don't know.
I feel like there's going to be people, clapping him on because we love him and woohoo, same thing we did for Lucas Moura, even though it's time to go. But, I could see the argument there for Lucas Moura. He's at least wearing the fucking shirt. But if Pochettino shows up not wearing our shirt, he should not get anything from us other than a big boo you.
And I hate the Pochettino stands. They're going to be like, well, he deserves better than us. It's sort of like the people that say that KANE should leave and they'll lose respect for KANE if he doesn't leave and he deserves. Shut up. Are you a KANE fan or are you a Spurs fan? You know what I mean? It's just like I sometimes I feel like people just I don't want to. The word I was going to use was mean. But people just need to hop off their jock, man. You know what I mean? Like get behind the squad and don't. Put all your eggs in the one player's basket. It's just.
Well, I've got a bunch of eggs in Sonny's basket, and once I have to get that basket returned to me, I'm going to be very, very upset. Which I hope it's not this summer. I've heard rumors that he might try and go to Barcelona, but I hope I'm wrong. Nice historical reference with Stalin. Hope it's not that. It won't be that extreme. Obviously, I was just making a joke because recently I was reading up on some history. I'm a big history guy. I enjoy history. I love learning about past events in the world. And I don't know why. When Pochettino's you're talking about reception, I was just like, I'm imagining something similar to that. That of Joseph Stalin. But you know what? This is not Russia. Hopefully, nothing too extreme. But I do think boo the fucker. Boo the fucker. Boo anyone wearing the Chelsea badge. Boo anyone in a badge that's not Tottenham Hotspur. That's my feelings about it. I don't want him to succeed. I don't care. And it's the same thing. I kind of agree with you there, Colin. Like, when it comes to KANE and if he leaves, once he leaves, I no longer give a shit about the Premier League scoring record. I care about him being Tottenham's most goals in Tottenham history. That's cool. That's gravy. But as far as him breaking Alan Shearer's record, couldn't be asked. As far as him winning a trophy, don't care. Will I clap a little bit on the inside for his family? Yes, because he has a beautiful family. I think he's a great man, an honorable man, and he deserves respect. But I'm not going to sit here and be like, that's my boy, Harry, while he's wearing another team's shirt. That's just not going to happen. Unless it is in like Real Madrid or Barcelona or another country where I can, but if he goes anywhere in the Premier League, I'm not going to celebrate any of his successes because, quite frankly, he had to step on us to have that success. So I don't care about it at that point. But if he goes to Real Madrid, wins the Copa del Rey or whatever, and the Spanish, the La Liga, and whatever fuck else they do over there, I'm fine with that. I'll clap him and I'll probably tell him like, congrats, Harry Kane. Even though I know he's an avid watcher of the United Spurs of America YouTube channel, so he's waiting to hear my response. But you'll hear it soon, Harry. Don't you worry.
Can I add something on Poch?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, of course, Ellie. You can say whatever you want.
Yeah, no, because I was waiting patiently, but I wanted to add this, because I've got a really good brother. I've got 7 brothers, but the one I talk to most is my He's a bit older than me, a year and a half older. Right, so we was talking, and I said, what do you think of Poch going to Chelsea? And he said, look, if he goes there and makes a success of his career, we're going to hate it because we hate Chelsea. But he goes, the good thing about Poch, he made us relevant. He made people love Spurs like they love Brighton, like you said, Ash, right? So he made us relevant. He made us competitive. For the first time in a long time, we were challenging for the league title, right? And we made the Champions League. So even though he didn't get it over the line, you can't always pin it all on him. It's a collective when a football club fails to get something over the line. Yeah, so I know he did make mistakes.
But Ellie, it suits the argument so much better if we just say Kane's a loser and didn't get us over the line and he's not good enough to carry us.
People that say Kane is a loser, they're losers in my book.
Ah, there you go, Ellie. I love it.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I just think he made us relevant. He made everybody, even Jamie Carragher was saying, bloody hell, look what's happening at Tottenham. We're not a soft touch anymore.
Yeah.
For starters. And he made us relevant.
Kane didn't fail us. We failed him.
Yes,
if he leaves this year, you
Yeah.
know, we missed the boat on that big time.
Absolutely.
We should have built a winning team around Kane and Son years and years ago. So, you know, if he does end up leaving, then that's only on the owners, in my opinion.
Yeah, like we did in the 80s, Phil, with Hoddle.
Yeah.
In Aussie, and we had Steve Perriman, who was a fantastic player, never got all the plaudits that he deserved. But we brought in Aussie, and they just murdered every team. You know, in terms of skill, we could have won the league as well easily. And then the Falklands War happened, and we lost Aussie, and we lost our way a bit. But at least we got that UEFA Cup over the line. But there's certain things that the club haven't done. They haven't addressed the defence, especially. You know, we need to solidify that defence. Because at the moment, look, we've leaked in 62 goals. That's atrocious.
That's
We've
insane.
got to fix that as well as bringing the creative, like Sean said and Ash. We've got to address that defence.
Yeah, the leadership is a massive thing in this team that we're missing. We need leaders in that back line. You know, Kane is a captain to a certain extent. He's more of a role model than to shout at players on the pitch. We need that type of defender in that back line.
Yeah, he's a bit nicey, Kane.
Yeah.
I feel like Postecoglou could be that manager that'll yell at our team and get us fired up. That's part of why I want him, is because he seems kind of scary, and I feel like we need that.
He does look like a guy that, you know, if you're out at the bar and you're having some beers and he buys your woman a drink, you say, all right, dude, thanks, and then just go to a different bar. Because, yeah, he got that aura of, like, the big barrel-chested man, you know.
Every other word out of his mouth, probably the C word.
Isn't he?
Again, this guy, I'm not going to claim to be the Postecoglou know-it-all because I ain't heard of him till 2023, and this man was born way before me, so I'm skeptical, but at the same time, like, I don't really care because I don't have expectations for this team at this juncture. Like, I don't think if you got Ange Postecoglou that necessarily all of a sudden we're going to be some good team. I mean, we saw it with world-class managers. It doesn't matter world-class, mid-class, lower class. I
don't feel like either of our world-class managers were really in it, though, with their whole heart and everything. I feel like Jose or Conte really had their entire heart in it. But that's just
I'm just trying to focus my camera. Don't get distracted by the screaming head here. I'm trying to get my camera to focus because it's like it went out of focus. So come on, camera.
You should have one of Fernandez because he's always bloody moaning.
Everyone thought that was Richie. Does this look like Richie?
Nah.
Speaking of Richie, this is a side note, and it's not very, like, you know, whatever, but Richie got a new neck tat. It's like...
That outline on that thing is thick.
It is thick. But the black will fade. There will be some ink fading after it's all said and done, so it won't be as bold. But he got a neck tat similar to the surface area of Ederson. I wonder if he kind of inspired him.
What is it, actually? What is the tattoo?
I think it's like a bird, like a dove or something.
A pigeon? If it was a pigeon, that would be full circle awesome.
It's like a pigeon's wings, I think it is, something like that. I'll pull it up and I'll show the stream for those of you who ain't seen it. Let me find it, but man, people were shitting all over him because of this tattoo, and I was like, damn, y'all some haters. Like, let's be honest, there's some haters. Here we go. Let me zoom in. So you see it on his neck there?
A pigeon.
Damn, it's a big tattoo, man.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's huge, huh?
Is he married? Is he married?
No.
No,
He just got some hoes. That's it. But look at that. See,
Hey, man.
you see, it's like some wings. I don't know if it's like an eagle or a pigeon or what.
Pegasus.
It looks more like an eagle.
Something.
But the pigeon ain't got that big a wing.
Oh, that was loud. You see it? There you go. Let me see. I'm trying to see where you can.
It's
there.
so hard to see.
That's a. He'll post a picture soon, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Wow. Now I'm zooming in.
I do see feathers on there. Yeah.
Yeah. There's like some kind of feathers or something. Let me see. I'll make it full screen so those of you watching at home. Well, that doesn't even help at all. Never mind.
There's a still image on Reddit if you want to grab it on the Come On You Spurs subreddit. But
I'm not on Reddit. I got bullied off of Reddit, so you can upload it if you want, and then I'll show it. But I got bullied on Reddit when I first started the channel. I was like, "Hey y'all, I'm starting a Spurs channel. Come support." And they're all like, "Fuck you, you fucking American. You're a piece of shit. This is what's wrong with the fucking sport is all these Americans in here talking their shit. Oh, here's what we need, another fucking Spurs YouTube channel. Oh, here's what we need, another podcast about Spurs." I got fucking rinsed, and it was one post. They deleted it, they took it off, and they were still commenting, talking shit to me. Since then, I ain't touched Reddit. I'm never going. You know what? Y'all win. All right, y'all xenophobic bastards. You win.
Listen,
Julie said,
I've got a joke because my husband's going to kill me if I don't feed him.
"Oh, you got to go, Ellie? Okay.
Yeah,
I've got to shoot as well, Jacob.
All right.
He can't cook. He just can't cook, won't cook.
Exposing the man. Oh my lord.
Poor man.
National YouTube.
He is a QPR fan. She's already outed him as a QPR fan, right?
Wow.
QPR? Yeah, QPR
I've had a
fan.
worse season than us. I'm telling you. Anyway, good luck with the rest of the show, guys.
Thank you.
Hey, good to see you, Ellie.
Yeah, when's the next time you're live? There's her link. If you ain't subscribed to Ellie with THFC Till I Die, Dermatron, Philip Brady.
Till I Die.
Great channel.
We're there. We're doing well now. We're picking up traction. And we're attracting the Americans in as well, Jacob. Come on.
Yeah, come on. You got me in there. You know that.
Nice.
Big up yourself, Ellie. Thank you for joining.
Take care. Bye-bye,
Yeah, have a good rest of your day.
Bye-bye.
Phil, before I let you go, I have to ask you.
Go for it, man.
Your name says Phil Coys, Romero in. Talk to me. Why are you Romero in?
There's just so much Romero hate at the minute, man.
It's insane. It's fucking insane.
I'm on that Romero train all day long.
Toot. Same here.
Yeah.
Man, the discourse around Romero, I just feel like is a little unwarranted and a little out of nowhere. It just seems like, who can we blame that fans like and they'll want to interact with me because I'm shitting on some player? To me, I love Christian Romero. I love what he brings to the squad, and I think you pair him up like Ash. We were talking before the show. You pair him up with someone decent, you might get a tune out the guy. Yes, he had a bad year, but we all had a bad year this year, except for Harry Kane.
Yeah, but you need a defender in there with him to kick him into shape, really,
like a sitter,
and to guide him a little bit, because I feel that, with the players that we do have in that back line with him, I feel like he's on his own a little bit and he's a bit lost. But in certain games, you can see his qualities as a defender and, on the ball. And I think he is 25 years old, and you sort of think that that's going to be, not in his game by now. But I still feel that there's time there where we can get a couple of.
Let me ask you something, Phil. When you were 24,
out of him.
When you were 24, how polished of a man were you at 24?
Look at this
How
guy.
refined in your. I mean, I know you're looking like a
I'm
righteous
not
little
polished now, mate.
statue, but I'm just. But like, you know what I'm saying? Like in your craft as a man, really, you don't start figuring shit out till 25, 26.
Yeah,
is my opinion.
He's got another 7, 8 years. You know, as a footballer, you know, maybe longer.
At least, yeah.
You know, 2025 isn't old. You know, it's relatively young as a footballer. And he's got a lot to learn. He's got a lot to learn, and you know, the new manager that comes into Tottenham will be very important for his game. You know, but then on the negative side, we did have Mourinho and Conte that were sort of defensive coaches, and
but he didn't play for Mourinho. He didn't play for Jose though.
Yeah, that's
he's also not their style of defender. He's way more of an attacking, aggressive defender than I think that Conte normally would play with. And I think somebody like Toby Alderweireld, if we had a player like him next to Romero, class. It would be amazing.
I personally think it all went wrong. Well, the fan base turned on him when we went to the World Cup. So obviously the injury was moving around that. Our medical team, Conte was criticizing them, and then all of a sudden he became fit. And so I think the fans thought he was being disloyal somewhat. Some were on the fence, like maybe nah. You know, I think
he even went on record of saying that, like,
that sort of fuels it, doesn't it? You know what I mean, with the fans.
Basically, and then again, obviously, at the end of this season, it's happened again. He's been named in the Argentina squad. I still personally think he did pick up a knock. Just because you're mentioned in the squad doesn't mean you're still fully fit.
Yeah. The first time he came under fire for being injured and then getting called up for Argentina, he did not play in that first game that they played. So it's not like he was like, I'm fit since Argentina's ready. It's not like that.
Didn't he break COVID? Didn't he break some kind of COVID protocol to go play? Or am I making that up?
Yeah,
no, he did.
And the Leicester jumped on the plane when they weren't meant to. And,
that's annoying. That's annoying.
They were meant to go to they went to one country and then they came back, but they were meant to I can't remember, isolate for a certain amount of time. But
when they stuck somewhere, they were stuck somewhere.
Yeah, they were stuck in another country. Yeah, I can't remember what country it was. But I think where fans are getting frustrated was because he dives in a lot and doesn't win the ball and gets a lot of the player, and then we kind of concede free kicks in needless positions. So the example being that I can remember of late was Aston Villa, where he kind of dived in, missed the challenge in the first half. The referee kind of plays advantage, and then as a result, they go on. It gets to Leon Bailey. He switches it across, and then Ramsey ends up putting it back in net. And then the second goal was outside the box when he dives in, and you can see the free kick, and then they end up scoring. Douglas ends up scoring a free kick off the back of that. So that's just one example, but I know there's other examples. Again,
Milan as well.
Man City, he gets sent off. Then he doesn't, because he didn't play against Leicester, we end up losing against Leicester 4-1 and stuff like that.
Well, to me, that just shows what happens whenever you take him out of that system, that Leicester thing. And I'm gonna go,
but don't get yourself a red card.
I want to go back. Hang on, Colin. I want to go back to the Christian Romero versus City. He did get sent off, but what did Haaland do? 17 minutes, he got a fucking tackle from Romero. What did Haaland do? Phil, I know you got to go. I didn't mean to wrap you into this Romero talk.
Sorry, man.
But yeah, I'll let you sign off of here too.
It's good to be on the stream with you guys, man. So until next time, yeah.
Yeah, man, always a pleasure. Please do. Hey, anytime you want to join, brother, just text me. You're always welcome. Appreciate you joining in.
All good. Take care, yeah.
Yep. And as one leaves, we have the return of another. Let's bring him in. Patrick, what's cracking, my man?
Big up, man.
Hope the recording went well for you all over there.
Yeah, no, it did, man. Go check that out. So Saeed, big Manchester United, Spurs.
I see him on Turkish, right? That's Saeed from Turkish.
So that's it. So you'll see him on the Big Six bands. He does loads of good stuff. I'm on a show every week there called Best of the Rest, because when it's put together, it's in the best of the rest teams. So it's bar Man City and Liverpool, but Liverpool got dragged into it as they were shit this year. And yeah, we've just been chopping up every week. It's been really good. But that finished. I said I was going to come back, and I have. So I hope I haven't missed too much. But
you missed all the manager kerfuffle, the Pochettino kerfuffle. But we were talking about Romero primarily right now, and just the fact that he's come under a lot of criticism. There is a comment here from Dan E. Says 3 red cards since he's been at Tottenham, part of the worst defense in years in the Premier League. I can't see why you think Romero should not get criticism. Now, real quick, Dan, I never said he shouldn't get criticism. I'm saying he shouldn't get bashed and drugged through the mud like he's not a good defender when we, quite frankly, our team has had a bad year as a defense in total. Again, I go back to the fact of, you know, if you're in a group project with 10 other people and there's you and 2 other people working on it, when you really need 10, 11 people working on it, naturally the project is not going to have as much success as it should. Also, the whole thing of him, you know, not being a good defender. Big up Mark Cousins says he's a madman, needs to learn to stay on his feet. He does. But again, goes back to the point that we were talking about earlier. I think a little bit for him, when you're in crisis mode, what are you doing? Last ditch effort. When the house is on fire, what are you breaking the thing that says break in case of a fire, right?
Jacob, just to chime in a little bit. When we look at, everyone's getting mad for King Min Jae.
Big up Mia.
Right?
Yeah.
King Min Jae has won 30, I've got the stats here, 30 tackles, 30 of his duels, he won 30 of them. Romero won 36 of them. It's the style of defending. So someone that's defending, he just needs to get his timing a little bit right. This season has been a little bit off, and that's the reason why people being focused on it a lot more, because he's not got those tackles in at the right time. All of a sudden, everyone's looking at Romero like he's the problem.
But if you paired him with like a Kim Min Jae,
pardon?
Oh, but if you paired him with a player like Kim Min Jae that plays, like you said, a different style of defense.
I said when it comes to partnerships, and that's what you want to see. Again, when we lost Bentancur, you've seen a difference in that midfield. You've seen how poor Højbjerg's dropped off. So again, like I agree with you, Cole, it's all about partnerships. I said that before the show even started. If I'm playing alongside a competent defender, my confidence goes all the way up. And people said, oh, you can't use that as a get-out clause. Well, look at Romero when he plays alongside Martinez versus when he's playing alongside Eric Dyer. It's a huge difference. Or if he's playing alongside Alongley, it's a huge difference. Not all
but then they'll just say, oh, well, I'm talking about what he does for Spurs. I'm not talking about what he does for Argentina.
No, but that's the point. In terms of partnerships, it makes a huge difference. And like I said, when you're looking at, even if I went to stat tackles and interceptions, Romero's, he's in the top 10 percentile. So that tells me if you've got a poor goalkeeper, you've got a poor centre-back pairing, you've got a left wing back and a right wing back that can't defend, that are leaking all over the place, your performance is going to drop down levels. But not only just that, on the ball, when it comes out to bringing the ball out from the back, again, he's in the top 10 percentile. When it comes to him doing long balls, his switch of play, again, he's along many of the elite top defenders. When it comes to being on the ball, he's very steady. And Son and KANE appreciate him. I've seen during the games, or even after games, they come up to Romero and they shake his hand because they know the quality that he possesses.
Absolutely. I agree with you there, Ash. You put him up with someone better, you're going to see better. That's just the nature of the beast, in my opinion. Also, Mark Cousins says, when did Yobi or Tan go diving in with a rash tackle? Toby did the last year he was with us. He did a few times. But
the thing is,
again, this is an elite partnership, a Belgian partnership that has been together for years and years. They know when and where people are going to be. But Romero doesn't know when and where Dyer's going to be. And think about it this way, too. If you're getting direction and someone next to you that you know is not good at their job, like for instance, if you're working in an office and the guy who's your coworker is not good at his job yet is telling you how to do your job, you might look and be like, bitch, what do you know? You don't know shit. I'm watching you. You clumsy. So that goes back to my point. And I think it ties in with what you're saying, Ash, is when you're constantly in crisis mode, it is last ditch effort. And what is a last ditch effort in defending? A slide tackle. It is your last option. So my point is that when you're constantly, it's always a tornado warning. You know what I'm saying?
But that is his style of play. But that's his style of play too. He does
Yeah,
that
exactly.
he does that for Argentina. He's that's just the type of defender he is. You know what I mean? He likes to go to ground. He likes to you know what I mean, go in for the hard tackles. He likes to leave a mark
I
on
like
somebody.
it too. Yeah, fuck them
But
up.
I've played with defenders like that. I've played with defenders that like to go to ground. That's just their style. I'm more of a stand-up kind of guy when I'm defending. I don't always lunge in. I try to jockey. So you saw it with Rio and Vidic. Do you know what I'm saying? You saw it with Terry and Azpilicueta. It's just two different partnerships. And the guy had to say, both Toby and Jan, when Jan was by himself, everyone was criticizing Jan Vertonghen for doing the same, saying how, you know, Jan Vertonghen's not all of that of a defender. As soon as Toby came along, look how good Jan Vertonghen looked alongside him. All of a sudden, levels go up. So for me, partnerships 100% do matter. And I think if he's got someone competent behind him, someone with a bit of pace, someone that can clean up and has a bit of a football brain positionally as well. And if we're in attacking formation as well, we play higher up, because I do agree with Cole. I think that Romero suits our more progressive, high-pressing team, a bit more front-footed team, rather than a team that's sitting back. And that's the reason why there's so much gaps in between the centre-back and the six, or the double pivots. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
Big up, Ash. No, thank you for that. Patrick, what's your take on Romero? I don't think we've had a discourse about Romero yet, so I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on his overall play. We have talked, and again, I will defend him, but he is rash. He does make some silly decisions, as does Bissouma, but that doesn't mean Bissouma's not a good baller just because he goes out and gets a yellow card in 30 minutes. As a midfielder, you should not be doing that. But what's your thoughts, Patrick, on Romero?
Yeah, you know what? It's been funny because Romero has really divided the fan base this year, and there's so many fans that are for Romero and against Romero. I really like Romero. I think he's a top defender. I think most of you guys touched on it, and you're coming from the same standpoint or notion that I'm at. Top defender, one of the best defenders I've seen in the Premier League this year. It's just that he's playing with a lot of crap around him. You've had an awful goalkeeper. Like you said, the defensive partnership has been really bad. Either Eric Dyer, it's been Davinson Sanchez. It's guys that can't defend and not good enough. And when you've got Romero having to cover them, do his job, it's hard. It's hard for anyone, no matter how good you are. And then also you've got to look at how good he is on the ball. He's the only calming presence and influence in actually bringing the ball up, actually transitioning defense to midfield or defense to attack. You've seen him many a time bring the ball up, able to dribble past a man, and actually, like Ash is saying, deliver a pass on a button or on a sixpence to an attacking player. He is very good at tackling as well. I know that is his style, but more often than not, he does win the ball. And I think as well, sometimes you've got to also watch the game and analyze it for yourself. Don't listen to the commentators. Watch it for yourself, because there's so many times like, oh, Romero's rash, Romero's crazy, he shouldn't have done that. And when you look at it, it's actually a good tackle. He didn't do anything bad. But when another defender does it, they praise them. Oh, brilliant last-ditch tackle from Diaz. Oh, that was fantastic from Saliba or Gabriel. You're like, hold on. When Romero did that in the other game, you were telling them off and saying that you shouldn't be doing that. And so you've got to sometimes look and analyze things for yourself, and don't listen to the media perception, because media perception will depend on how good a team is, the perception of a player. So that all comes into effect. Yes, he's had a few silly red cards, but there's a lot of players that get more red cards than him, and they never bring that into the discussion. So I do think that, again, you've got to look at what's going on around you. And I do think as well, sometimes, you get someone like Harry Kane, who's an exemplary player, and regardless of the standards, regardless of the manager, regardless of what's going on around him, he can raise his level and it always stays at 8 or 9 out of 10. Someone like Romero, unfortunately, and it is a slight on him as well, if the team's not playing well or the players around him aren't playing well, his level kind of drops as well. And this does happen. You see it with players play with crack teams, their national team compared to their actual team. And the levels drop or the levels raised. Unfortunately, Romero has fallen into that bracket this year. I do feel with the right manager, obviously a good defensive centre-back, you'll see Romero back to his best. I think he's a good player. I don't think he's overrated like a lot of people are saying. And I just think it's been a season to forget for many a player. He's still been our best defender by a country mile. And without him, even though we shipped in a lot of goals, we would have been in a lot more trouble. So, yeah, I can't really judge him until I see him next to someone who's good again. But I've seen enough to know that he's quality. And I think we're still going to see a good player there.
I agree with you, Patrick. I think it's a little crazy to get too bent out of shape with a guy who's been here not even he just finished his second season.
Yeah.
My opinion, I'm going after players who've been here for 4 seasons or more. If your name's not Harry Kane or Heung-min Son, you've been here for 4 seasons or more, my opinion is you got to go. If you're not good enough, and we'll know that within 4 years. So for me, I at least give Romero another 2 years before I write him off as a shitty defender or a guy who can't contribute. I did want to talk a little bit about that City match where I'm pulling it up right now. Yeah, we won 1-0 at home. 17th minute, Christian Romero goes lunging in there. Erling Haaland, effectively removing him from the rest of the match. In my opinion, I like that. I like that in a lot of sports. When you go out there and you put a hard foul on their best player and you say, think about me. Think about me. That's all you need to do. Think about me. What does Haaland do? He didn't score a damn goal. No one could stop the robot from scoring, but Romero put a hit on him early on. The rest of the match, what is he doing about that defender? Where am I at? Where's he at? When you're thinking about where when you're thinking about where a defender is, though, and you're not thinking about where you need to be, what your team's doing, you've already gotten taken off of your game mentality wise. So that's what I love. It's not just that I think he's a good defender, a good passer of the ball, that he's got pace and power, that he's got all the things you need to be successful in this league. I think that he genuinely understands the mentality aspect of this. I go out there and I put a crunch on that bastard. He's either A, going to get hurt, B, going to be limping around the rest of the match, or C, looking at where I am, wondering what I'm doing. When's Big Bad Jacob going to come put another one on Papa? That's what he's going to be worried about. And when you do that, I think that is taking another aspect of the game and implementing it into something that you don't necessarily see. That's just my opinion. I know a lot of people were pissed off after that because he ended up getting sent off because he had another silly challenge. The second yellow, he shouldn't have committed that foul. I don't know what purpose it served, but that first yellow, I stand by it. I think it serves a purpose when you go out there and you put a crunch on their best player and you make them think about you. But that's just me. I don't know if y'all have any more thoughts about the Romero thing. Colin, I kind of interrupted you while you were...
Oh, well, I interrupted you, so it's all good. But I was just going to say, do you think that, for one, that's sustainable? That like, let's go, like smash this guy and then try to take him out of the game? And two, do you think Romero was even thinking about that? Or do you think he was just like, I don't know. I just feel like maybe we're giving him too. Yeah, you know what I mean. I don't know. I feel like we might.
I feel like that's simple. I don't think he's that simple minded where he's just see ball, get ball. I don't know. What were you gonna say, Ash?
No, I was gonna say I think a big part of his game is the shithousery. That's a part of him. He's South American. His blood boils when he sees people. Like he's just that type of character. That type of. You need different type of individuals in the dressing room, on the pitch. Different personalities. Kane's more of a leader by example, and Romero, like you've seen him challenge someone and then start screaming them on like when they're on the floor.
Arsenal, yeah, I remember versus Arsenal. He crunched someone. He took their ass out and then gets over. Come on, how can you not like that?
That's what I'm saying. But for some fans, they don't get behind if a player does like a sliding tackle, and then some players love it. Some fans love it. They're like, yeah, well done. Do you know what I mean? But I think because Tottenham don't have a defender that loves the art of defending, like an old school defender, that's why Romero stands out so much. Eric Dyer backs off so much, like he does not engage. Moonwalk when he sees strikers.
He's a traffic cone.
He gets. And then Longley again, very similar. I'm not saying Longley's at Dyer's level, but I'm saying Longley is not like your traditional old school warrior type kind of defender. On the ball, bit more silky, takes his time, can switch to play, likes to do balls long over the top, good passer, good caresser, like a European style type of defender. But Sanchez is not really that guy that's going to come in and crunch and be the old school and love it, just love defending. It's not really his, in my opinion. I don't see them as that character. But with Romero, you've got that. And you need those kind of mentality warriors. You need that kind of personality. You need someone with a bit of that kind of needle. Do you know what I mean? That can kind of give it to you. And you need that because that helps push the team up. When he's so front-footed and what he was doing against City, because he was pushing high, and I saw it. Ben Davies started pushing high, and he started moving like a little Romero.
Yeah, he started moving some. Yeah.
Yeah, I started seeing. I was like, "What is that you Davies. I didn't know if you know you had that in you. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So
don't gas him up too much because you're sitting next to Davies' biggest defender.
Oh, is it? Okay, cool.
He loves Ben Davies.
But I'm just saying, sometimes that can rub off on players, and like because he's the first one that starts it, then someone else starts it, then someone else starts it, and that pushes up the team, and the team start to push up the pitch, and we start to win. Because a lot of the time we're a transition team. We'll quickly get on the ball, quickly get it to the front three. Do you know what I'm saying? Quick turnovers, spin it over, and then straight into that front three. So certain times Romero's getting on the ball, winning the ball back, giving it to someone simple, or he's throwing that ball into like a Son, and it might not be a direct assist, but it's a key pass, or it's a pass before the key pass. Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's starting the attack.
Yeah. I agree with you there, Ash. Dan says, can you explain to me the sending off against Milan? The AC Milan player was near the throwing line. No need to dive in, but he does and gets sent off.
Yeah, I mean, stuff like that, he needs to cut that out of his game. No one can legislate for that and defend for that. That is reckless, and he does have that in him. But if he cuts that out, for me, you've got a top centre back there. But yeah, I can't defend that. Even last year when Richarlison played for Everton and he crunched him at home. Yeah, you know, obviously the running joke was when Richarlison first came, what was the first day of training going to be like between those two? Because, you know, the Argentinian, Brazilian rivalry and what he did to him. So he does need to cut that out a bit. But sometimes as well, you can almost overcoach a player and coach up some of their qualities. And that is part of his quality and the reason why he is such a good defender. But like Asher said, like Colin said, you just need a good partner next to him and you'll see the best of him. But I think our fan base as well, we're always so quick to criticize and, you know, almost like get rid of players. Like you did it earlier with Kulusevski in that segment. Now Romero, every time someone has a bad half a season or a bad year, even under the circumstances, all of that is like washed aside. Yeah. Oh, he's crap. He's not good enough. He's not good enough.
We do it both directions.
Team, we do it all the time. And then when they go to another team, you see how good, oh, maybe we should have been. I'm like, you guys, you do it all the time. Done it with Brian Gill. We done it with this guy. We done it with that guy. We done it with Marcus Edwards. Yeah, exactly.
But we'll gas players up first, like too quickly, and then we'll also throw them in the trash too quick. You know what I mean? Yeah. We're very quick to be like, oh, they're world class. We got a world class player, and then as soon as there's a tiny dip in form, we're like, nope, get him out of my club. Don't want him here anymore. It's just reactionary on both ends, I feel like.
It's too much. We just need to be a bit more balanced. And I understand the situation. This year is hopefully an anomaly and something that doesn't happen again. We played under 3 managers. We've had no DOF. It's been a fucking shit show, a shambles. It's everything that you could imagine going wrong in the season has gone wrong. So I can't really judge the new players or the young players too harshly, considering it, all the circumstances around them. But Romero does need to, of course he needs to improve. No one's saying he's a finished article. But when I'm saying people say he's overrated, he's not good enough, you know, if a bid comes in, they get rid of him, I think that's wild. I think that's crazy.
No, that's wild to me too. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I'm setting it up, y'all, so that way I can redirect the audience live to Perchy's channel when he goes live. I think I figured it out. I tried to do it one time with Bobby K. It didn't work out, but hopefully this time it will. Let's see if it works.
I knew you were doing something there. I could see you got work.
Yeah, Perchy messaged me and said, hey, you know, could you try to redirect your audience this way? And I was like, well, since I'm at the channel's at 1K, you can redirect audiences. And I think that's a great way for communities, which I want to shout out a couple people right now, like Flawless with Sarcasm City TV. He's a big guy. He always redirects to other channels who are live. So I like the way that people show love, and it helps me show love in another way too. So that way, the 22 of y'all, 25 of y'all that keep popping around here, I will redirect you. As soon as the show ends, it should send you right over to the Perchy TV. So hopefully you can stick around for the ending there. I do have to wrap up here in just a minute. My wife has got to go to work. I got to do my whole dad thing.
Can you put up Julie Severs' comment real quick? The one it's
Dyer has
close to the bottom. It's a
Davies is a solid squad player, not fancy, but puts in a shift.
Yes, 100%. Can cover 2 positions.
I thought we're selling him.
I hope so. I hope we are.
He needs a testimonial, baby.
Hey, straight up. I started a new Tottenham career season on FIFA, and the first thing I always do is I put Dyer and Davies on the fucking transfer list, and teams will bid for him. 18 mil. I got 18.5 from Barcelona for Eric Dyer. I got 16.5 from Aston Villa for Ben Davies, and then I also sold Sanchez for 12. I think to Southampton. So
did Sanchez cost more than Romero? If we're going on prices, Sanchez was like 40 something. What did we pay for Romero? Do you
50.
Do you guys know?
We paid 50.
Yeah, Romero
I was going to say
it
would be insane to me if Sanchez costs more than Romero. I would lose it. That would be insane.
I mean, we pay more for Ndombele than we did for Romero. I know that much. We pay more for Ndombele than we did
maybe Ndombele is going to come back and tear it up. Who knows?
He might. That's another issue for another day that I do want to talk about. Is all the circus, the slew, the squad of players we have returning is going to be quite fun, just to sort out that. But the part that I think bothers me the most is the fact that we don't really have a plan. No man in charge except the bald Daniel Levy. And I mean, I'm fine if you're bald. Again, I was all in for Arne Slot. I'm not a hair enthusiast. I mean, I like hair, but you don't have to have hair to manage a football club. Sometimes bald is intimidating. If you're bald bastard like Arne Slot, you might respect the guy. And I was really excited for Arne Slot, and it's just such a shambles that we can't even get that guy to come manage our club. Now I'm at the point. Before Arne Slot, I was like, I don't care, Mason in. He's the one to help sink this ship faster than anybody. That's kind of how I felt. Like I didn't really care over who we had. We don't have anything, so I didn't care that Mason's in charge. But then we start getting linked with Arne Slot, and I'm watching channels and reading up and listening to things about this guy, watching his press conferences. And I'm like, I kind of like this guy. In his press conferences, he's very like, this is this and this is that. Like he doesn't seem like a fuck around guy, and I like that as a manager. I don't want my manager with that funky shit unless you Jose Mourinho. You know what I'm saying? Then you can do the funky shit because guess what? You're the special one. You do what you want. But my last question for all of y'all before I sign this show off, and Patrick, I'll start with you. What's your not realistic, not even if it's a wet dream, but who you want? What's a manager that gets you excited for Tottenham Hotspur football again?
Nagelsmann, and he's right there, and we could go and get him.
Didn't he already say no to us though?
He
Allegedly.
said no, but then he also said that he'd be interested if we can obviously pair him with a DOF of his choice.
Ragnick.
Yeah, so Ralph Ragnick and get Nagelsmann. Then you've answered all the questions. You ticked all the boxes. The guy's a project manager. He can rebuild. He can coach. He plays attacking front foot football. Pretty much he'll do everything that we want. And I think he'll excite the crowd again. The atmosphere in the stadium's been so flat this year because the football's been atrocious. So we need something to get behind, something to actually excite and ignite this crowd again, man. I mean, my managerial shortlist before all of this kicked off, it was Pochettino, Nagelsmann, and Marcelo Gallardo. Obviously, now on the table.
I like
Marcelo
that guy.
Gallardo, fantastic manager. No one's really talked about him. I've been banging the drum for a while now, and more people are starting to look into him. But he's a great manager. Obviously, he's not managed in Europe. His English might be a bit questionable, but other than that, again, he ticks all the boxes. But Nagelsmann's right there, though. Nagelsmann was at Bayern Munich. No one thought he'd be available. He's now available. Just get it done. Like, stop fucking about.
Real quick about Gallardo. If we did actually get him, I think a manager like him with his CV, we can honestly have no expectations. He can come in and just do the job, and then we go from there. Whereas I feel like with Nagelsmann, with the bigger name, with renowned, a name that people know, I think there's some expectations attached to that name. You know what I mean? With Jose, I definite expectations.
There'll be expectations of better football, but Nagelsmann's still young. He's not reached the ceiling. He's on an upwards trajectory, and we would hope that he can grow with the club. It's not like if we get in an Enrique or someone who's literally the finished article, there's going to be a much more of an expectation. And Enrique, again, the football, I don't know, the players don't suit. We'd have to then go and buy so many more players to fit his brand of football. Where I think with Nagelsmann, yes, there will be an expectation to play better football, but I think the crowd and the fans will be realistic and understand that this is a process. I mean, with everything that's gone on, when I look at the league table, sometimes it makes me laugh, and I'm also upset about it and angry because with everything that happened, we were only 2 points off 6. We was only 2 points in the end behind Brighton, and you know they played a fantastic brand of football. Everyone bigged them up, and we only finished 2 points behind them. That's less than a game behind Brighton. So with a half decent manager, I have no doubt that we can get back into the top 6. And for me, that's a start. I don't expect us to be in the top 4 next year, but if we are fantastic, sometimes, you know, you can overexceed your expectations, but just take it by step. Top 6, try and really go all out for one of these domestic trophies and build a brand and a foundation. So then next year you build off of that. Right now, no one knows, you know, our best formation isn't what we play. The players don't fit. Obviously, there's so much questions. So I think a good manager is the start. And yeah, I think that Gallardo or Nagelsmann will answer most of those questions, really.
I love it. Patrick, I love having you on here, man. Always such great great input, man. Great input. I enjoy watching you on Last Word on Spurs. I know you were on BBC, right? You were on BBC Radio?
Yeah, I was on BBC Radio.
What?
And funny enough, that was with
celebrity, man.
Yeah, there was a Dutch football expert on there called Marcel van der Krans, and he was talking to me about how good Arne Slot is. He's somebody that watches the Dutch league and reports on it. And by the end of that segment, I was sold. I was like, wow, this guy's, I mean, he's going to be the next Pep Guardiola. He plays attacking football. He's like rock and roll, but he's got a head to him.
He can get the best out of youngsters.
Yeah, he gets the best out. Literally, I was like, wow, okay. And then literally the next day, Arne Slot comes out and goes, nah, I'm staying at final. I was like, fuck's sake. So it's
tough.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's annoying. But, you know, we're 63 or 64 days in. We still don't have a manager. The season's over now. I expect to see movement now, man, and fast, because it is embarrassing. And don't get me wrong, I don't begrudge getting rid of a manager if there's a plan. But when the second time happens and there's no plan, that's when I really start to ask questions like, what is going on? Yeah. Because, you know, we got rid of Conte quickly, and it's the right thing to do at the time because of what he did and the outburst and everything like that. But yeah, it's just gone to shit, really. When Conte left, we were 4th. We were 3rd. No, yeah, we were 4th. If we would have won the Southampton game, we would have been 3rd. And obviously, we were in the top. We were 3rd for a long time of the season. Then we were 4th. Then we were 5th. And obviously, we ended up 8th. So it's actually been embarrassing where we finished. And don't get me wrong, we deserve to finish 8th, but it's
it sucks, man. It sucks.
Yeah.
But you know what? We have a whole summer to just cleanse ourselves. Maybe take a bath in the ocean and wash away our sins like a Seal song. Maybe. Ashmatic, my friend, brother, I'm so glad I've gotten you on. Anytime I'm with you, it's a great chat with you. I love your insight, your tactical knowledge. I love what you're doing, them videos you're coming out with on Southview Coys. I'm going to ask you 2 questions. First one was what I asked Patrick, and the second one is when's the next time you're going to be live there on Southview Coys? Because that'll also give me some time to pull up your channel over there with Haz and Marlon. But is there a manager that gets you up off your seat now? Is it Nagelsmann? Is it someone else?
Yeah, you know, like it's similar to Patrick. It was like Nagelsmann, and then it was Slot for me, because like with Nagelsmann, we didn't have to change too much in terms of like we like to play a 3-4-3, which he likes to play. Difference being that he was a bit more attacking, so that made sense to me because that would fulfill the quota to the fans, playing that brand of football, attacking, progressive. Him happened to be young, and he'd studied a lot of Poch's style of football. He'd studied a lot of Mourinho. He even down to Pep. He'd studied a lot of managers, and he's very versatile in his tactics. And also another point with him is that it wasn't just Bayern and RB Leipzig. Before that, he took Hoffenheim from almost like a relegation battle into the first time ever a Champions League spot. I think that takes some doing, and for that reason, I thought he was the right man. I also like the actual innovation of his coaching style. So on the actual training pitch, he wanted to get massive video monitors and mobiles where players could touch the actual screen and see how they were in the actual game, and then mimic that on the pitch. I thought that was slightly different, and I thought we could bring that different to the Hotspur way, because we like to kind of be innovative, and he's forward thinking. He's a young manager, so I thought anything that could kind of, you know, unite the fan base and excite the players, bring something different, fresh ideas. That's something that's going to excite me. And I thought also just having a little bit of respect because he had been in the Champions League, he was undefeated at Bayern Munich. He's doing relatively well when he got sacked. So that to me was, you're getting a manager, as Patrick was saying, on an upward trajectory. So why not go and get him now? Then that obviously flopped because we didn't have a director of football. And then Slot, I was sold because it was like a student of Bielsa, where he likes to sometimes play like a 2-3-5, and sometimes he just says, F it, I'm going for a 2 and a 7. So 2 defenders, 7 men attacking. I said, you know what, that sounds a bit rock and roll. I don't mind. It's a bit crazy. But at the same time, when you've been starving of attacking football, I like the fact that he just uses a 1-6 rather than 2 6s. I know Poch, back in the day, he used to have Sissoko and Winks. Not a good example because then Ballet and Wanyama was the better double pivot. But I like to go back to the single pivot where your fullbacks can become a midfield 3, tuck in, and that's what Slot was preaching. And then your double pivots become a 6 and an 8. I think under Conte, too many times the 6s were just 6s. They weren't 6-8s. With Slot, you had a 6-8 and a 10 because in Kochu, he scored 10 goals and he got quite a few assists as well. And I like the idea of having think because it's a multifaceted system where you've got a midfielder that can play a 6, an 8, and a 10. You've got a fullback that can invert and play possibly a 6, or they can come out wide and they can become a proper fullback and bob up and down. And then even his 6 and 8s can actually pull out wide at times. Do you know what I mean? And so when you've got, I like the system where too many times I thought Son was an attacking mid, and I think Son's better when he's a winger. Son was being asked to drop back into midfield, take a first touch, and then players and teams recognized that and started taking the ball of Son, and didn't get to see the best of Son. And that then affected his confidence. And in front of goal, he wasn't scoring the goals that he did in the previous season. And I think that was a big reason when you're giving Son a lot more defensive responsibilities, then you're seeing the downfall of someone. You're not playing a player to their attributes. And I think going back to Nagelsmann plays players what suits their attributes more than rather than playing players in the system, if that makes sense. So I'm all for that. And then on top of that as well, both of them said it was like 60 to 70%, I'm misquoting, about personality, working on, the ideas of football, and then 30% is actual tactics and coaching and where they should be. Do you know what I mean? And I think a big problem with Spurs this season has been that mentality, has been the personality, has what we need to be doing on the pitch. The confidence has been shot. So I think with that being said, those 2 managers I was really excited about. And when we, pulled the plug on both of them, that's when I kind of like said, enough's enough, man. I kind of just lost it. Me personally, I just said, this club's got no ambition, because I thought if you're moving away from a win now manager and you're going to a project manager, these 2 are the best in the field. They've both won stuff. They're both high up in. They're both respected managers. They both got attacking. Like, it ticks so many boxes. They're but relatively young. So yeah, for me, I just lost it after that, man. But
That's fair. That's fair, man. I love a lot of really good points you made there. I wish I could talk and ask more questions about your tactical assessment there, but I love it, Ash. My wife's texting me. I do have to wrap this thing up very shortly. But I wish we could go another hour, man. I could talk to you about. I would love to listen to you talk about that stuff a lot longer. So, but make sure you sub Southview Coys. You can catch Ash Maddock there. He's got his tactical videos that come out and he breaks things down. I think he released a video about Arne Slot, and then the next day he was like, no, thank you. No, thank you. But, such is the life of a content creator. But big up, Ash. It's so lovely to have you around. And thank you so much for joining me today. There's a channel you can catch him, a contributor with Haz and Marlon over there at Southview Coys. Big up yourself. Colin, finally, last but least, what manager gets you up off your seat real quick before I sign this thing off?
Man, I can't. I just can't get off my seat for any of them, bro. I've been too hurt. I've gotten too invested. You know, I'm excited for whoever comes in. Whoever's brave enough to take this job and come in and work and try to start something and build something here, I'm gonna get behind him 100%. Honestly, it's not that I don't care who it is, but I just want somebody in. I want them to have a philosophy. I want to start building towards something. I want to have a clear direction. And so whether that's, you know, Postecoglou, whether that's
Gallardo.
I really don't think Nagelsmann's coming. I don't know. I feel like we missed the boat on that one.
Yeah, I don't see him coming here. I think it'll ruin what he's trying to do with his career. He just got embarrassed for porking the reporter in Germany. So
wait,
I can't imagine.
I didn't even hear about that.
But wait a minute, 15th though. He's on garden leave to the 15th.
Okay.
I'm just gonna throw that in there.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes any difference.
So we got to wait another 16 days until we get a damn manager. I'm pissed that Poch is already making shots and calls.
I'm not saying we're doing it. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Because I'm like you guys. I've lost all hope.
Yeah, I lost all hope after the FA Cup loss to Sheffield. After that, I was like, I don't really care what happens anymore. But Colin, thank you so much. Big up yourself. Go show some love. Colin Talking Ball. He's working on his channel again. He's working on coming back. The resurgence of Talking Ball with Call. So please do go subscribe to Colin over there. Show some love. And Spurs72 says Ashmatic is becoming my favorite YouTube person. Isn't that sweet? That's very nice.
Making me blush. I'm not kidding.
For me, for me, my favorite, or the only reason I'm saying Gallardo is because that's my mother's maiden name, and I would love for our manager to share a maiden name with my mother. Rest in peace. So, for me, I'm going Marcelo Gallardo because his name is so much fun to say as well. So, plus the expectations, well, I have none. You just come on, bring it on. Kind of like with Pochettino, just bring the vibes, my man. Philosophy, an ethos, help us build back up. That's kind of where I'm at. But you know, this has been such a great stream. I also want to say thank you to Sean, thank you to the Perchy, thank you to Phil, thank you to Ellie, everyone who joined in the chat as well. I want to say big special thank yous to Wolf Finland with the first super chat of the day. Big up to Mrs. Mommy Severs with the $20 dono, and then she was chatting all the rest, so I made sure to read those for you, Julie. Thank you so much for your contribution to the channel. And H Talks Chelsea with another super chat, so big up yourself, H Talks, if you're still there. That's going to do it for this Tuesday show. Next week, it might be another Talk About It Tuesday, a little Taco Tuesday, Taco About It, Taco About It Tuesday. I might bring that back. I don't know. Or I might do my transfer target list. I don't know what's going to happen, but keep it locked. Tuesdays seems to be a good time for my personal life to do a show. So we'll be bringing that throughout the summer as well. And then another something, but we'll see how that goes. Actually, I didn't get to play my favorite clip that I usually play. So I'm going to say Eric Dyer.
He needs some milk.
Eric Dyer needs some milk, and that will always be the case. But you know, I want to say thank you to everyone. Please don't click away yet. As soon as I end this stream, it'll send you over to the Perchy TV with time added on, Alan Clark over there. So go hit the like and say USA raid. Let them know the USA is raiding you, but not in the way that USA typically raids other countries and channels, in a loving, friendly way, in a I love you and I'm supportive way, not I'm going to tell you which government elected official should be the one you choose. And if not,
give me all
we
your
will supply
resources.
guns to your enemies. But this is not a political show. It might be one day, but this is not a political show. Big up and thank you everyone for tuning in, being a part. Please do hit the like on your way out. And when you get on over there to Perchy, please do say USA Raid and tell them I sent you. But until then, keep it locked. Thank you so much, Ash, Colin, Patrick, for rejoining. Always great to have y'all on. Thank you so much. And as always, big up the lads and come on, you Spurs. Coys.